Oh my goodness, do we have a lot to cover today? All right, here we go.
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right. Welcome to the program, everyone. It is Thursday, February 15th, 2024. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 47 years on the radio. That's right. Is that absolutely amazing? Welcome, one and all. Was that not an incredible rally that President Trump had last night in South Carolina? Oh, my goodness. You know, when this South Carolina race is over, what would be your guess as far as Nikki Haley? You know, President Trump is at 65. She's at like 35. He's like 30 points ahead of her, right now. And this is a state where she was twice elected governor. She was born and raised there, and she's 30 points behind Donald Trump in her home state that twice elected her governor. Do you think she'll continue when this is over? I think there's a good, it's 50-50. Usually you would say no, they'd be out. And the reason I give Nikki Haley a 50-50 chance of staying in the race are two reasons. One, the very fact that she's continuing to stay in a race where she's going to be humiliated. No one's ever done this before. In President Trump's first campaign, Jeb Bush was running against him. Jeb Bush dropped out before the Florida primary. Jeb Bush was twice elected governor of Florida. We used to have him on the show in studio, Jeb Bush, many times in studio. And he was twice elected governor of Florida. He knew he was going to be creamed by Trump in the Florida primary, and he dropped out because he didn't want that embarrassment, because he believed that embarrassment would be too big of a defeat for him to ever overcome, and he dropped out. Nikki Haley, she's not doing that. She's staying in. So that's one reason I say she doesn't care about the humiliation. There's three reasons, okay? The second reason is, even after her last defeat, she's lost to Trump every time, she's been doing massive fundraisers. The Democrats have been doing massive fundraisers for Nikki Haley. So the money keeps coming in. And when these candidates are running for office and they have millions of dollars in donations coming in, believe me, they find a way to get a hold of some of that money, right? I mean, like Joe Biden, for example. Do you know who has run all of his campaigns since his first one for the Senate way back in 1896, right? Might as well be that long. His sister. Why do you think she does that, right? Because she can get the money. And when she gets the money, Joe's getting the money. So that's a second reason that she's, they're still doing fundraisers for her. And she's raising, Nikki Haley, a lot of money. It's a complete joke. And thirdly is this one. The television coverage. You watch, she does an interview, you see her every day on national television. When's the last time you've seen Vivek on national TV? Or DeSantis, or even Chris Christie? Once these people, no matter how well-known, famous, and popular they are, once they're no longer a presidential candidate, you don't see them on TV that much. And Nikki Haley has been on television promoting war because she's a spokesperson for the military-industrial complex. She loves to say carpe diem Iran. She loves to talk about that. So I give it 50-50 she stays in after South Carolina, which will be the biggest humiliation in a primary probably that any candidate has ever experienced, because it's her home state that twice elected her governor, and they're going to reject her for Donald Trump. So I'm going to give it 50-50. I know that's kind of safe, right? That's kind of a safe predict. You can't predict these things because a million things can happen. But she's completely out of her mind. And I've seen some of the Nikki Haley interviews lately. Look in her eyes. Does she look lucid to you? You know what the look I see in Nikki Haley's eyes? It's the same look that I see in Gretchen Whitmer's eyes and Gavin Newsom. Insanity. She's a crazy woman, right? She's a complete lunatic. She's not sane. And nothing about Nikki Haley. Is there anything about her that says presidential? I don't see it at all. So she'll probably stay in it. Let her stay in it. Let the uniparty continue to go after Trump and expose themselves. I have no problem with that. Now, we're going to cover quite a bit today. There's been some big updates on Putin and Tucker Carlson, which I'll get to after the first break in a few minutes. But there's a lot of other things that have happened too, okay? You know, as the clock ticks down to Election Day, the Democrat-Republican establishment uniparty are in full panic mode, okay? And they're going to quadruple down on all their garbage because they're running out of time to get things done for their donors and to make their money. Because when Trump is sworn in for his second term in January, the military-industrial complex and the other donors aren't going to get fed on a regular basis like they're trying to do now. And yesterday, Mike Johnson stopped this insane Ukraine funding. I mean, we shouldn't be giving 10 cents to Ukraine, okay? And this right after the story that Mike Johnson stops the Ukraine funding, immediately after, we get a story from CNN, from ABC, from members of Congress, that there is a major security threat from Russia, that they got to declassify this thing. It's got to be declassified. It's so serious. The American people got... So all of a sudden, they don't get their Ukraine money, so they're trying to create this new threat. And the new threat that they've come up with is total BS. I don't buy it. And it really was ripped out of the Tucker interview with Putin last week. And they leaked the classified information to CNN and ABC, which if I didn't see anything about it being declassified. I don't think it is classified information. I think the whole story is BS, including that this is a classified national security threat assessment. I think the whole story is BS. But here's the story. Comes out right after the Ukraine funding is cut. Now we got to make Russia bad again. The story is that Russia has a space-based missile that has the ability to travel 21,000 miles per hour, which is, I don't know what Mach is that. I don't think it is possible for a craft built by humans to travel 21,000 miles per hour. Okay? How would you control such a thing? If something was traveling that fast in orbit, would we be able to even keep it in orbit? Wouldn't it shoot out of orbit? And that's far greater in speed, about 3 to 4 times the speed that Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin traveled to the moon at, okay? I don't believe the story. I think they're trying to make us afraid of Russia. Russia is not a threat to the United States. Russia has never been a threat to the United States. In fact, they've been an ally of ours. We defeated the Nazis with Russia. In fact, we very well may not have defeated the Nazis if it were not for Russia on the Eastern Front. And that's it. I mean, when has Russia had territorial gains against the United States? So Mach 1... It's got a text if you heard the click. Mach 1 is about 700 miles an hour. So they're telling us that that Russia has a jet that could go 21,000 miles per hour. What would that be, like Mach 10? What would that be? That's crazy. I don't know what Mach that would be. What's Mach 20? I think they said in the story yesterday, Mach 27 or something. I saw a story. It was just an outrageous number. So that's where I went to find out how fast it was in 21,000 miles per hour. It's not possible. It's all BS. Russia has never been a threat to the United States. Russia has never made territorial gains against the United States. What's going on between Russia and Ukraine is, I don't support that war, but it's a civil war. It's a civil conflict. And you're going to have a tough time spending endless amounts of billions of dollars on securing and the integrity of the Ukrainian border when our border is completely open and we're being invaded. This year alone, 20,000 Chinese have come across the southern border. What are they doing? We're being invaded. We're being invaded by all kinds of nationalities, including China. All right? Think about it. 20,000. See, I got another text from someone who's an expert. I don't know if they want credit, but they said anything entering the atmosphere above Mach 10 will disintegrate. Yeah, so what's with this 21,000 mile an hour rocket? And what would propel that? How much fuel would it take to power something that fast? They wouldn't be able to control it. The story is just, it's an overblown lie, all right? It's not even realistic. And it's something that Putin referenced in the Tucker interview, but nope. You don't need to worry about Russia, okay? I mean, come on. I'm not worried about Russia. In fact, I think the entire Cold War was a lie, right? Oh, if we don't stop them in Southeast Asia, they'll be in Brooklyn next week. Yeah, give me a break. They're already in Brooklyn. It's it's the squad, and the Democrats, the communists are here, and they've always been. All right, listen, we're going to take our first break. When we get back, we'll get into this Putin Tucker issue and a whole bunch more. Our number is toll free 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Have you been to Chowderheads in Jupiter yet?
Yeah, Mach 26. Yeah, give me a break. The space shuttle is 17,000 miles per hour on re-entry. That's a meteorite falling. That's not even really. That's not a controlled engine at that point. They're gliding. I mean, my goodness. Does he have something that goes the speed of light, too? Let's see. We'll be back shortly. All right, welcome back. Call us on hold, stand by. Today's Thursday. That means the weekend starts tomorrow. Are you in pain? Oh, my goodness. You shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. Because Dr. Philip Appleton, I've been telling you about him for a long time. He could take care of that for you. A lot of people, they're in pain, and they take pain medications. Well, first of all, that's just a bad idea, right? I mean, you can become addicted to them if you're taking one of those. But, the other thing about pain medications is whether or not they're addictive or anything else, all they do is mask the injury, the problem that's causing the pain. That pain is telling you to not do something with that part of your body. And when you mask the pain, you're doing things with that part of your body that you're not supposed to be doing. That's what the pain's about. And you could make it worse. You know, the laser wave pain treatment with Dr. Appleton actually repairs the damage that's causing the pain. That's why when he's rid me of pain, 5 times he's done it, the pain has never returned because it repaired the injury or the condition that was causing the pain. You know, he rid me of my arthritis pain in my hand. I didn't think that was possible. That was really bad. You know, my shoulder, I've had 2 injuries in my shoulder from my skateboard that he took care of, 2 different falls on my skateboard. I've retired the skateboard. I've realized I retired the skateboard not because of my injuries, because, you know, but I saw another guy that was about my age riding his skateboard down the sidewalk, and I could ride a skateboard better than him, but I thought that guy looks a little old to be on the skateboard, so I retired it. But he rid me of pain from my shoulder injuries, my knee, my arthritis. It's amazing what this laser wave pain treatment does. It absolutely works. You know, there's no injections, no downtime. That's right. No medications, no surgery, and it is 100% painless. You know, we've had listeners that have traveled from all over the state. You hear one, a listener brought her mother down from New York to see Dr. Appleton. Give him a call, 954-973-0710. Remember, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. Give Dr. Appleton a call and say bye-bye to your pain. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning.
Hey, Richie. What's up?
You're a history guy, and I'm going to agree with you with a lot of this. The people out there should know. You know, after World War II, they were worried. They were worried because Hitler invaded Europe. Okay, I think NATO is obsolete. To tell you the truth, they invaded Europe. Then the Soviet bloc countries, Soviet Union took their bloc, and it was the Soviet Union. Soviet Union was dismantled under Reagan. So should NATO have been, especially since Europe doesn't give a damn about their sovereignty because they gave it up to all those Muslim nations. I mean,
let me tell you what the Cold War was about. Okay, the Cold War. We never had a military-industrial complex until World War II, and when the war was over, those factories, they didn't want to go back to making Studebakers. They wanted to keep making tanks and planes and ammunition, so they created this boogeyman with Russia in 1945, and the Cold War began right after the Japanese surrender. It's insane.
Yeah, well, I think it might have been needed at that particular time. I don't think you'll ever see a European invasion except for maybe Muslim nations that have invaded Europe. I mean, go to England, go to France. You don't even know you're in England or France anymore. So they've been invaded already. They're obsolete. Why are we even involved with that crap?
Mm-hmm.
Soviet Union is not the Soviet Union anymore. NATO is an obsolete organization. It's just a money taker.
That's a money grab.
And it's a money grab for listen, when was the last war that we fought that was just? World War II.
Yep.
No, Korea was a waste. Vietnam was a joke and a lie.
Mm-hmm.
It was a joke and a lie. You could go on and on and on.
Exactly.
Just try to keep us involved in wars. And when you say something, you love Putin. Baloney. That's another talking point these people have. They're just making tons of money on our blood. And it's got to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just our blood, it's the economy of this country. How can we keep spending?
Yeah. So all of a sudden the Ukraine funding doesn't pass, right? So in the House. So all of a sudden they've got this weapon, Russia, that can go 21,000 miles per hour, which is not even possible. I mean, that's not even possible for something to travel that fast. Not even possible. That's like a meteor crashing into the earth.
Yeah, we have rockets that take longer to take. I mean, once they get out of our atmosphere, they start moving at great rate.
Not that fast. No, not that fast. And in fact, the Apollo 11 mission went about 7,000 to 8,000 miles per hour to the moon.
Yeah. Well, the timing here seems to be awful suspicious.
Oh yeah.
You and most anybody that thinks that this was put up because they want that money to go to Ukraine. And you know why they want that money to go to Ukraine? I'm sure you got part of that on your show today. Because they've been exposed that Ukraine knows the secrets about how our other countries should go after.
That's right.
If it comes out, there are a lot of people that are going to go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
The laws were broken all over the place.
That's right.
There's a whole crew of them.
That's right.
Ukraine has the secret. Ukraine has the secret. And that's why all of a sudden the Democrats were giving them blankets. Now they want to give them bombs. Come on. They know what Ukraine...
Yeah. That's right, and you got to remember, we had a 20-year war in Afghanistan. It ended with that botched withdrawal of Biden's, and then like the next day, they started this Ukraine war like 2 days later.
Originally, I was all rah-rah, the United States flag. You remember, I was for this war in Ukraine, but as I see it, it's a total farce. I mean, the longer it goes, how many dead Ukrainians are there?
Well, I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure there's a war going on at this point. I tell you guys, there's a YouTuber that I watch. He's a 20-something-year-old Ukrainian guy. He's a lifestyle vlogger in Ukraine, Pavlo from Ukraine, and he shows his life in Ukraine. This week was his girlfriend's birthday, so he drove across country. It looked like he was driving through Alaska or Michigan. He drove to Kiev, had a great time. I didn't see any rockets. I didn't see any bombs. He went to a gas station and showed the prices, and the gasoline in Ukraine for super unleaded is cheaper than the super unleaded next to the radio station. So there's no gas shortage. He went into a grocery store, and they have like a gourmet section, fully stocked. There's like, watch Pavlo after 9 o'clock. Don't do it now. But watch Pavlo from Ukraine on YouTube if you want the real story of the situation in Ukraine. I don't see planes and bombs and rockets and tanks or anything.
You got these people coming on MSNBC and all of these people from our government, okay? Republicans too, and they're going, well, if we don't give them the money, our soldiers are going to
That's right.
go there. Well, who's going to send our soldiers?
Why isn't, well, listen, Pavlo from Ukraine's like 25 years old. He's not in the military. Things can't be that dire.
Commander-in-Chief of this country is going to send anybody to war in this country. This is totally a farce here. The guy can't find his way up the damn stage. He can't speak a sentence. And this is our Commander-in-Chief. Can you imagine this guy saying, I'm going to send soldiers to war?
Oh, yeah. No, I can imagine it. All right, Richie, we got to run. Thank for the, yeah, Pavlo from Ukraine. Don't watch him now. Wait till after 9. But go and watch his most recent video and then work backwards. He just spent the last few months renovating his house out in the middle of nowhere in Ukraine. And life looks great in Ukraine. You would not have any idea there was a war going on watching this guy's channel. And if Zelensky Zelensky must not know about Pavlo from Ukraine. They killed an American journalist, the Ukrainians. They put him in a Ukrainian prison. He's dead. You don't hear the press talk about it. That Khashoggi guy they talk about, but not this guy. And Pavlo, he's given us the real story. And I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to be funny here. He travels all through Ukraine. He goes to beach resorts, fancy hotels. And you would have the only thing they seem to be short of are bras because his girlfriend doesn't seem to have any. I guess the bra. But other than that, life looks great in Ukraine. And it's not a news channel. He just vlogs his daily life, but it gives you the only true reporting out of Ukraine. And if Zelensky knew about this channel, they would take him off the internet. They would not let Pavlo from Ukraine do what he's doing, and people could see that there's nothing there. I was watching him drive across the country to Kiev on his latest video on YouTube. I couldn't believe it. It looked like he was driving through upstate New York with the snow and everything. It was crazy. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. I'm Brian Craig. We're going to take our break, and we'll be back.
Making morning radio great again.
I think that Pavlo is the best source of information about what's going on in Ukraine. Do you guys agree with me? I mean, that's because it's not news, it's not political, and it's like real, And why isn't he in the military? Why is super unleaded cheaper in Ukraine than it is here? Give me a break. Oh man, welcome. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is our bottom of the hour break. Yeah, they killed an American reporter over there. I mean, come on. Wow. I'm just reading over some stories I'm going to be talking about in a little bit. Wow. There we go. All right, we'll be back right after this in 24 seconds.
and Craig, celebrating 47 years on the air.
All right, welcome back, one and all. I'm Brian. We'll go back to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Mitch from Tennessee.
Hey, Mitch, what's up?
Hey, Brian, this whole thing with Ukraine is a money laundering operation. They are laundering money. The bill that they're trying to pass, the $95 million bill or $90
billion
bill, yeah, that is all bullshit.
No, almost had to hit the dump button. That was close. My finger was going towards the dump button, but you saved it there.
Okay, yeah, but Brian, we've spent so much money there. They have lost. Russia will not lose. They lost 40 million troops in World War II. They're not going to lose it here. They're going to object their goal here.
Listen, the purpose of the war. The purpose of the war in Ukraine is simple, right? To feed the donors of the Republican and Democrat establishment in Washington. That's what it's all about, and they get a commission. You know, Biden and these congressmen, they get commissions.
Yeah. We spent as much money on our border or in our cities as we do now. We'd be perfect. We'd be perfect in the United States.
I mean, why do you think the Vietnam War went on for a decade? You don't think we could have ended that in 10 days? We've got nuclear weapons.
That was weapons testing, Brian. That's all that was.
No, it was maybe they were testing weapons, but the main purpose of it was to feed the military-industrial complex. I mean, give me a break. They don't care.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It was weapons testing.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the government's corrupt. That's why they hate Trump, because he's not corrupt and he's not corruptible.
Absolutely, and I'll vote for him for a third time.
Absolutely. Well, you don't have to. Don't worry about that. Just discourages people to turn out this time. All right. So, not only do we have got to have President Trump uses this term. We've got to. I don't want to talk about COVID. All right. That's like the worst thing. You know, I have a friend. He's on the air in Las Vegas. And they don't talk about gambling on the radio in Las Vegas. People are sick of gambling. I'm not interested in talking about anything that has COVID in the sentence, okay? That's just me, you know? That's right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Greg. This is Chris from Boca. I got one information for you regarding that contract that our good Speaker of the House has stopped. Well, I'll give you 4 good reasons. The money goes to pay the salaries of the so-called, whatever they have over there, small businesses, their Social Security, right? And they have a thing in there in that contract that says that President Trump, for the first 2 years of his term, cannot do anything about Ukraine. I think that was regarding...
That's correct.
Yeah, right? It has nothing for our border. Nothing at all. So, you know, and you're absolutely right. We shouldn't give that money at all. Absolutely.
No, absolutely. Yeah, and I just what they did. You know, it was J.D. Vance exposed this. I talked about this earlier in the week, Monday or Tuesday. I guess it was Tuesday because we weren't here live on Super Bowl Monday. But J.D. Vance had pointed this out. They had him buried in the bill. This funding would have been made law for Ukraine, and if Trump would have stopped the funding, that would be an impeachable offense. And they snuck that clause in there specifically for Trump, which is insane.
So, everybody, I sent in my primary vote, and we know we're going to vote for Trump. Let's go.
That's right.
Get it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Take care. Thanks for the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Good morning. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right. Once. Twice. All right. That's it for you. Now, let me get to this story. You're welcome to call in about this because we're going to continue on. But I want to bring up this story that just came out about Putin and Tucker. Now, full disclosure, this story is in the Huffington Post, okay? When is the last time I shared a story from the Huffington Post? Oh, my goodness. But it is a story that is a translation from Putin's interview that he did on television over there in Mother Russia. Tucker Carlson's interview with Putin was so soft that even Vladimir Putin thought Tucker's interview was a letdown. To be honest, I thought he would behave aggressively and ask so-called sharp questions, Putin said. He says, I wasn't prepared for this. I wanted it because it would give me the opportunity to respond in the same way. Tucker said that he barely spoke at times as the Russian leader delivered lengthy monologues. When Carlson did get a word in, Putin frequently dismissed him and continued with his lecture. Putin said he tried to interrupt me several times, but still, surprisingly for a Western journalist, he turned out to be patient and listened to my long dialogues, especially those related to history, Putin said. This has all been, this is an interview, it's on the Kremlin website that's been translated. So even though this is from the HuffPost, the basis of this is accurate. Putin said, honestly, I didn't fully enjoy the interview, he said with a laugh, according to a translated clip posted online and on X of Putin's comments. Tucker, who has admitted, and then they go on to some liberal HuffPost garbage that I'm not going to share. This interview that Putin did probably is going to get picked up by a lot of people today to, oh, look, it's weak, Putin says. And now all of a sudden, the establishment and the liberals and the media are going to say Putin's credible. This interview Tucker did was brilliant. In fact, it was so brilliant that Putin was caught off guard by it and said, I wasn't prepared for it. So it may not seem that way on the surface, but Tucker actually did something that probably hasn't been done in a long time. He controlled Putin. He manipulated Putin. Putin said he wasn't prepared. He thought it was going to be a knockout, drag-out fight and debate. And Tucker didn't do that. So Tucker won that round. And, you know, Tucker, what he said afterwards, he says he wasn't interested in proving how smart he is or how tough he is. He wanted the American people to hear Putin and his explanation for things in Ukraine so they could assess for themselves what's going on over there. I think it was a masterful interview and one of the best interviews I've ever seen done. You know, too many people that do interviews don't stop talking. Sometimes you got to wonder, why do they even have guests on? They don't even stop talking. They want to impress the guest. They want to impress the audience. You bring and not many people do what Tucker did, and that's just ask a question and then let the person you're interviewing speak, because you always hear the interviewer. You don't hear the person they're interviewing that often. So I think it was a masterful interview, and the very fact that Putin didn't get what he wanted out of it shows that Tucker's not a Putin puppet, and he was in control of the situation. You're on the air. What's your name? Oh, by the way, he also endorsed Biden for President Putin. He says he would rather have Biden than Trump. So there you go. Biden just won an endorsement from Putin. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeff from Maine, Brian.
Hey, Jeff, what's up?
Hey, can I throw in just a bit of trivia today real quick?
We'll see if it's relevant.
Well, it's not relevant, sorry.
Oh, what?
Well, it's Remember the Maine, the sinking of the Maine, the destroyer, 2 million...
No, that's relevant.
Yeah, well, my Marine Corps League is doing the color and rifle detail for the ceremony here in Bangor, Maine this morning.
Well, the sinking of the Maine in Havana Harbor is what got us into the Spanish-American War, right? And
it was part of the catalyst that led to it, the single event that caused it.
Well, it was...
The crew died.
Well, it is... You're probably not going to accept this because of your thing, but most people believe that the explosion of the USS Maine was an accident, and that the United States covered that accident up, or maybe even did it themselves, like many people believe Pearl Harbor, that we had prior knowledge, or 9/11, to get us into the war, because the United States wanted to get into the war, and we got into a global war. And look what happened. We took the Philippines, we took Guam, we took Puerto Rico, and it was one of the first military-industrial complex wars. And Randolph Hearst, who was the fake news of the day, is the one who had the headline in all of his papers nationwide, Remember the Maine. And that was the beginning. That may have been the first time that the government of the United States spread propaganda to get us into a war.
And the explosion happened because the ammunition was stored near the boilers, and
that's right.
That was an accident.
That's yeah, but the story at the time was that because the Spaniards attacked it and sunk it.
That's what they claimed, that it was hit by the Spaniards.
Lies.
It broke down the communication, which led to the actual war. So it was very directly impacted.
Yeah, and that's very relevant because that's the same kind of garbage that they did in Tonkin Gulf to get us into Vietnam. It's the same kind of nonsense they're doing to get us into a war with Russia and Ukraine. This is what they do from the Maine to Ukraine. Just lie after lie to get us into wars.
You know, some people have put in here, I think the Tucker Carlson interview with Putin was good because Putin's going to, spin it his way. But people are saying that Tucker would be a good VP. He's a great journalist, but I don't think he'd make a politician good at all. I really don't think that would be a good idea in the least.
Yeah. All right. Hey, listen, have fun at your event. Thanks for the call. We'll take our last break of the first hour and be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered.
Wow, huge heat and air. $100 super chat. My goodness, thank you so much for that huge heat and air, for that $100 super chat. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Wow, I appreciate that. Yeah, I like that. From the Maine to Ukraine. Wars based on lies. What do you think would upset Sunny Hostin more? She learned that her family were not just slave owners, but slave traders, or if she had Republicans in her family. Which would be most humiliating? From Maine to Ukraine. Yeah, it would be a good book title. Yeah, thank you, Huge Heat and Air. That's amazing. And all of you thanking Huge Heat. That's great.
Are you living your best life? Are you feeling the way you know you should?
All right.
This is John, CFO at Lighthouse Medical Center. Our hormone optimization therapy programs have helped so many people get back to feeling the way they did in their 20s. They're full of energy after a long day, reduced their risk of heart disease, sexual vigor and excitement, great, sleeping the way they should without disturbances, and reducing their symptoms of aging. Our all-natural hormone optimization therapy is precise, easy, and effective from day one. Office visits are usually less than 5 times per year, and the cost is only $150 per month for most patients. Let our medical team get you optimized and living your best life. Our family medical practice has been serving South Florida for over 71 years. Let us show you what personalized medical care and being treated like family feels like. Call us at 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. Or visit us at lighthousemedicalcenter.com to schedule your consultation today.
At albumgroup.com. John Album of Album Insurance Group cares about your health and wealth.
When it comes to dental work, there's no one better than Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. But don't just take my word for it. This is Richie the bus driver. He called in on the air to share his experience with Dr. Gupta. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie, Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to this guy. I had a broken tooth. He fixed it. It was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 2 years. He put dentures in my mouth that are a lot cheaper than anybody else. And he's excellent and no pain. I recommend this guy. To me, he's the best ever. So I want to get that out of the way.
Listen to Richie the bus driver. Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, welcome back. And remember, the free shipping with our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout, site-wide at mypillow.com continues. And Mike Lindell unveiled a whole bunch of new specials. You know, you can get the 6-piece MyPillow towel set for under $30 now, plus free shipping. Oh, man, I know. The MyPillow pet beds are less than $20. You get those and free shipping. I have the MyPillow pet beds. They are 100% machine washable, and they're really, my 17-year-old dog Nina got a lot of arthritis going on and dementia. And those MyPillow pet beds, because they have that same patented fill as the pillows, just help her so much. Oh man, I can tell a big difference when she sleeps. Sometimes she'll fall asleep on the floor or on a blanket, and she gets up and she's having a hard time, but she sleeps on the MyPillow pet bed and wakes up. She can walk. It's amazing. The MyPillow mattress toppers as low as 50% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, K80, plus free shipping. So you get the special deal and free shipping. That's site-wide when you use our promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, at checkout at MyPillow.com. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. That is a huge savings. And the bigger the item, the bigger the savings, because some things are heavy, right? Mattress toppers are big. If you're ordering a mattress, if you're ordering the MyPillow bathrobes, great deals and discounts on all of these, as much as 80% off. And getting that free shipping is another just massive deal. With our promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, at checkout at MyPillow.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? What is this, Morse code? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? It's going to be one of those days. I understand. Hey, I understand. That's cool. Now, Peter Schweitzer has a new book. I pre-ordered this book yesterday. Peter Schweitzer, I get all his books, and they are spectacular. His new book, it's not coming out until the 27th, but I ordered it already. Blood Money, Why the Powerful Turn a Blind Eye While China Kills Americans. It releases Tuesday, February 27th. The book is a result of a 2-year probe by Peter Schweitzer and his team of forensic investigators. This is an article in Breitbart I'm reading, who traced hundreds of billions of dollars in suspect money tied to China's undeclared war on the United States. And I ordered this book. I actually got the physical hardcover book, was less than the Kindle edition. I couldn't believe how cheap it was. Schweitzer's new book cover, imagery, and title are sparking discussions inside the Washington Beltway bubble, they say in Breitbart. Political Playbook, which broke the exclusive on Blood Money's forthcoming publication, revealed that the book's dust jacket features on it Gavin Newsom, Fauci, Adam Schiff, Biden, Xi, the Chinese president, and AOC, as well as images of drugs, guns, and stacks of cash. The article goes on, lawmakers and their staffers are trying to obtain early copies. Well, after I read mine, I'll loan it to them. But like all Peter Schweitzer books, the publisher has this one under the strictest of embargoes. See, this is an interesting thing because they're trying to get copies of it. They're scared of what's in it, and they're afraid they're in it. So they're trying to get it, His investigation, I'm sure he found all kinds of incredible things. But what they're worried about is not what he found, what they think he may have found out. The release of Peter Schweitzer's book has come somewhat of an event on Capitol Hill. Staffers are bracing to see whether the names of their senator or member of Congress appear in the book's index, and whether Peter Schweitzer's famous follow the money revelations will lead to their boss's resignation or investigation. We're used to politicians behaving badly and getting away with it. A Schweitzer book is one of those rare occasions where corruption revelations actually turn into results with real consequences, says Breitbart's editor-in-chief. Peter Schweitzer has a well-documented track record of igniting congressional resignations, FBI investigations, reform legislation, and inquiries that lead to criminal indictments. The first one I remember that he had was the Clinton cash. And that's the first one I remember actually reading, and that was just an amazing book. So anyway, I sent for this book, and I bought it on Amazon. I'm looking forward to getting it. Peter Schweitzer's Blood Money, Why the Powerful Turn a Blind Eye While China Kills Americans. And the answer to that question is simple: money. The distrust, it's not that distrusting the government is new. But I think most people turned a blind eye to it because we felt like, what are we going to do about it? And then Trump came down the escalator. And China and these donors don't have the juice that they have. You know, the people that are in government, the federal government, both houses of Congress and the presidency, and throughout the rest of Washington, you know, the bureaucracy, probably federal judges and all of them, these people are groomed and recruited. You know, Nikki Haley is a textbook example of this, right? Nikki Haley is very out of the closet. Millionaires from being a spokesperson for the military-industrial complex to wage war. She seems very proud of that. Okay, you know, and that's how they all are. They're all that way. And what they do is they recruit people like Ron DeSantis, who doesn't own a car, doesn't own a house, doesn't have family wealth, and they invite them into the fold and tell them they'll make them rich if they do these terrible things. That's why, you know, globalism, everyone's worried about globalism, and I understand why. But the reason that the American politicians support globalism is because, well, they can get more payoffs globally. There's all kinds of money globally, more so than there is in the United States. Now, there's probably always been corruption, right? I mean, any time the government's involved, there's corruption, right? And there's ways that they steal money, and this has been going on since the country existed. There's no doubt about it. But not on the level we're at now. It's become a major, major industry. And I remember seeing people in Iowa in the early days of DeSantis' campaign, and he was doing a lot of town halls. This was like in the first few weeks of his embarrassment of a campaign in Iowa, and they were interviewing regular people, not news people, not politicians, regular people from Iowa that were at events with Ron DeSantis, and they said all he talked about was the donors, or to the donors, that he ignored the regular people. Because the money that he could make, the millions he could make, would be from the donors, obviously. That's what Nikki Haley's doing. That's what they all do. And these Peter Schweizer books that are well documented and everything else, you know, a lot of people will tell you, and this is one of my pet peeves, you know, but I don't let you guys know about my pet peeves because you'll use them against me, but this is one of them, though. I'll tell you this because I talk about this one a lot. When Schweizer's book, we know about all this. We know about... There's a difference in knowing and then having the proof. And Schweizer, I can't remember which one of his books this was. It wasn't Clinton Cash. It was the one after Clinton Cash. I forget the name of the book. And he was talking about Biden in particular then. And he said Biden does what they all do, but he does it on a whole new level. That at the time, Biden had more family members with crooked jobs from donors in foreign countries than anyone else in Washington. And it's been this way for many years. They have their son-in-laws, daughter-in-laws, wives, kids, everything. They got all of them got these brothers, sisters. They got all these fake jobs, grandchildren. You know, I mean, look, Biden not only has his grandchildren getting payoffs, he has Bo's widow getting payoffs. And she got pissed off she wasn't getting enough money as the rest of the family, because she's technically not family now, I guess, according to them. I don't know. And that's how they all do it. And this Peter Schweizer book, this is going to be a good one, because China has taken world domination in a way that no one else has. You know, you don't take over the world and defeat America through bombing campaigns and missiles and things like they're trying to convince us Putin has. You just buy off the politicians. That's all. You just donate to them, you give them money, you give their family fake jobs, you give their junkie sons diamonds, and they'll do everything for you. And that's what China's been doing. And it started when Kissinger and Nixon opened up China. And I'm a big fan and supporter of Richard Nixon. That guy got a raw deal like no one else. But when we see what China's doing in this country, I got to wonder, what did Nixon and Kissinger know about China at the time? Did they see this far ahead that it was a way to make a lot of money? I don't know. But that's it, and I can't wait to get this Schweitzer book. I wish I could get it early, too, because I'm so much wanting to read it. All right, 1 hour down, 2 to go. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 47 years on the radio. My name is Brian Craig. Our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Back after this.
WWNN Pompano Beach, WIRK. Indiantown. Programming forward by Vic Canales Media Group. Broadcasting from the Rome Studio. Injured recently? Call the Rome's Law Group, where winning is a habit. 561-570-5700. 561-570-5700. Rose, winning for you and our community. Your home for the Steve Kane Show.
Barbara with a super chat. Thank you so much.
Weather brought to you by Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Route 1 Seminole Plaza Shops, North Palm Beach. Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Voted in the best of the best patio store in Palm Beach County. PalmBeachPatioFurniture.com, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created.
And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
No, it's making the millions is not the problem. It's selling the country out and making the millions. That's the problem. Eh? There's a big difference.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. It's showtime in the Paddock Restaurant at PBKC with an exciting lineup of comedians like Joe DeVito March 1st and 2 shows each for Adam Carolla in March and Pauly Shore in April. And check out the fabulous dinner shows with So Good, the Neil Diamond Experience in March and Patty Nix in April. For tickets and info, go to pbkennelclub.com.
Hey, check your phone. Someone's on your doorstep and is trying to look for a way into your home. If no one is monitoring your home, then you need to call Sloman's now. Sloman's is giving you a free $1,500 valued home security system with professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. Call 833-283-5050 and learn more about this incredible...
Better than who's in office right now?
Donald Trump. Why? Because he keeps it real. Even though if he hate people, he's going to let you know, but he still won't get the...
Professional installation and battery backup. Call 833-283-5050.
What do you think about Joe Biden? He's tired. What has he done for us so far?
That's 833-283-5050. Sloman's, the difference is human.
Be back shortly, guys. If you're on hold, hang in there.
Here's your True Oldies ABC News Update.
ABC News, I'm Richard Cantu. Airports getting attention under the infrastructure law.
The White House announcing nearly $1 billion in funding for projects at more than 100 airports nationwide. From new terminals, repairs to air traffic control towers, and enhanced security screening. Expanded public transit. One of the busiest airports, Chicago's O'Hare, will see streamlined TSA screening and upgraded baggage systems. The funding, part of the $25 billion earmarked for airports, the bipartisan infrastructure law.
ABC's Michelle Franzen. Kansas City police not talking about motive or providing much other information about the shooting incident at the end of
All right, we're coming back.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show.
All right, we are back. Hour number 2 has begun 5 minutes after the hour. Thursday, February 15th, 2020. I still can't get used to saying 2024. Half the science fiction movies I watched and TV shows as a kid took place before this, right? I mean, it's just hard. We're living in the future, people. All right. This is really an amazing thing happened at the White House. I want to play this audio, and it's very, very relevant to what's going on today. Biden's national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, was asked a question about warrantless surveillance. Surveillance without a warrant, right? Listen to this.
FISA, there are a couple of amendments that are being considered. One of them would require a warrant for every query of lawfully collected data. If that were to pass and get into the bill, would the president veto that bill?
So I'm not in a position to stand here today and make veto threats on behalf of the president. Those are decisions for him to make. What I will tell you is that we do not believe that that serves the national security interest of the United States. And in fact, today I will be making that case to a number of members that the warrant requirement as conceived is not the best way actually to ensure the protection of the personal privacy of Americans. There are a number of other elements of the bill that we have supported that would reform and update FISA to protect the civil liberties of Americans. But a warrant requirement from our perspective would go too far in undermining the very purpose of FISA, and frankly, it would put victims at risk.
Okay, so there's a lot of gobbledygook language there, but it's relevant to something that came out this week, and that's why I share it. Now, this is the national security advisor to Biden, that means he's in charge of national security, because Biden, please, what's he doing? Why would they even brief him on anything, right? He kind of said both things, but he supported this warrantless surveillance that's going on. And, this is something that came in after 9/11, and after 9/11 they found that they set up the FISA court and all of this because they wanted to be able to monitor terrorists. And terrorists were, at the time, because, 2001, prior to 9/11, and even after 9/11, were communicating over payphones, random payphones. And the way it was before that is you had to get a warrant for every phone that they use. Well, if they're driving around town, stopping at random payphones, and there was one in particular that was in a pizza restaurant that they were using, they tricked us into supporting the FISA warrant so that Al-Qaeda could be monitored so there wouldn't be another 9/11. And then we find out, Trump comes out during the first campaign and says, Obama's spying on me here at Trump Tower. And of course the media and the Democrats all laughed. There's no proof of that. There's no evidence of that. And later we found out it was true, and then there's been a major update this week on this. And it's about the break-in of Mar-a-Lago. We now have official confirmation and documented proof of why they broke into Mar-a-Lago. It wasn't to get classified documents. That's nonsense. In fact, Greg Kelly did some great reporting on the classified documents. The classified documents they wanted fill up less than one half of one of those office boxes that like computer paper comes in. Less than half of one of those. They keep showing us photographs of boxes stacked all over the place, like in the bathroom and everything. Those are not classified documents. That's like the president's shoes and socks and stuff. And toiletries and things, as razors and, aftershave and all that stuff. It's not all classified documents, and they know that. They just lie. But they just use those boxes. It's like, you ever go to Publix and get boxes so you can pack up stuff? It doesn't mean that you've got green beans or whatever the boxes were originally. It means you got your stuff in them. That's just, and they grab what was available. But anyway, regardless, we got documented proof as to why they broke into Mar-a-Lago, and it's all about this FISA nonsense. Now, if you remember, when the feds broke into Mar-a-Lago, they brought with them a safecracker. Isn't that something? A safecracker. I wonder if he was one of those guys they make movies about who was like a professional safecracking criminal that's been recruited by the FBI. I don't know. But they brought a professional safecracker when they broke into Mar-a-Lago to get into President Trump's personal safe. And they believed that President Trump had a binder. This is the story that came out this week. A binder Yeah, like a 3-ring binder. That President Trump had a binder inside his personal safe at Mar-a-Lago that had the documents that showed that Barack Obama signed off on authorization to Brennan, who was running the CIA at the time, to do illegal surveillance on President Trump in the first campaign. And that he, of course, obtained this when he was president, and he had a binder, and it was in his safe. And they broke into the safe, and they found nothing. Remember, there was nothing in the safe. In fact, they found nothing at all, including this mysterious binder. And a lot of things about that pop in my mind. A few questions. The binder. First of all, binder. In the world of news and politics, other than this story, when is the only other time you can remember hearing about a binder? There's been one other one, and it was around 2011, 2012. A binder. Because really, who uses binders anymore? When I was a kid, binders were really big. Trapper keepers and all that stuff, but binders are out. Binders go in the garbage. No, when's the last time you bought a binder? And when's the last time you heard about a binder? Well, 2011 or 2012, I can't remember which year it was, but it was Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney was giving a speech, and they were saying that when he was running Bain Capital, that he didn't hire enough women or something was the story at the time. And he said, we had binders filled with resumes from women. And I remember that so well because Rachel Maddow and the liberals spent about a month making fun of Mitt Romney for using binders. And this is back in 2011, 2012. Who uses binders anymore? The 80s are back and all this stuff. Remember that? So that got me thinking. What made them think that there was a binder of classified information in President Trump's personal safe at Mar-a-Lago that had all this intel in it that showed that Obama authorized illegal surveillance of Trump Tower and of President Trump in the first campaign? And they got the information from someone. Obviously, it was false information, but they got the information from someone that there was a binder of information. And that tells me I think Mitt Romney was involved in the break-in of Mar-a-Lago. The only two times that I can remember anyone talking about binders was that and Mitt Romney with the binders of women. And if you remember, the Russian dossier was handed off to John McCain, who gave it to Comey. Remember that? So somehow Mitt Romney got in his head that there was this binder of information. Now, where did that come from? I don't know. Maybe they did a misinformation campaign and gave Romney some misinformation. Maybe Romney was sitting around with his Trump derangement syndrome suffering uniparty Republican establishment, Weekly Standard, Lincoln Project jerks. I don't know. And they got this idea in their head. Maybe they put the screws to some poor guy that works at Mar-a-Lago cleaning the pools or something, and they threatened him and his whole family, so he just said this or something. But the fact that and they found nothing in the safe, the fact that binders are mentioned make me think that Mitt Romney had some type of connection to the break-in of Mar-a-Lago. Now, maybe that's a stretch, I don't know, but just because of the binder, that's what got me thinking about that. But now that's an interesting thing because they broke into Mar-a-Lago looking for these documents that would incriminate Biden or Obama and Brennan. President Trump took Brennan's security clearance from him. Maybe it had something to do with this. So they didn't find the documents. So does Trump still have them? I don't know. Did he ever have them? I would imagine he did. I would think when you become president, you want to see certain things. And, I remember when Trump came out and said, Obama's spying on me right in front of Trump Tower on the sidewalk, and the media laughed, and they thought it was the funniest, craziest thing, and, there's no evidence of that. I have no doubt in my mind that President Trump probably got those documents to find out what really they were doing. Wouldn't you? Yeah, of course you would. And if they didn't find them, where are these documents? And, the reason that these things are documented is because they didn't think he was going to win in 2015. So they didn't think anybody would ever be looking into these things. So they didn't cover their tracks. That's why there's a paper trail. And you know what? Maybe Trump still has the documents. I don't know. Maybe they're in that Mar-a-Lago closet that the media calls a basement. I don't know. All right, let's take our first break of the second hour. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
To celebrate all my special occasions, Cafe Chardonnay is the place that I choose. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Dining at Cafe Chardonnay turns any ordinary evening into a special occasion. For over 30 years, owners Frank and Gigi have created a restaurant with a unique atmosphere, elegant yet warm and friendly. Cafe Chardonnay features today's freshest local farm produce and seafood just caught from the ocean. Cafe Chardonnay partners with nearby farmers, ranchers, and fishermen to provide the highest quality ingredients. And Chef Frank's talent combines these fresh ingredients to create delicious, novel, exciting dishes.
Make every evening a celebration at Cafe Chardonnay, located in Palm Beach Gardens on the corner of PGA Boulevard and Military Trail. Call 561-627-2662. 561-627-2662.
Didn't. Okay.
And be sure to enjoy the wine from Cafe Chardonnay's legendary wine cellar.
Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to feel older. This is Brian Craig, and I want to tell you about my anti-aging doctor, Dr. Mitch Matez at the Biostation West El Rey, and hormone replacement pellet therapy. Hormone replacement pellet therapy is all natural. What it does is restore your hormones to where they were when you were in your 20s. You'll feel younger, you'll have more energy, you'll get your sex drive back, and women, hormone replacement pellet therapy completely stops and reverses all the signs and symptoms of menopause. Mood swings, gone. Night sweats, gone. I've met listeners before and after hormone replacement pellet therapy with Dr. Matez, and when I first meet them, they're like Joe Biden, and no one wants to be like him. And then I meet them again after they began hormone replacement pellet therapy, and they have their energy back, just like Trump. They're standing up tall, and they feel years younger. Now, it's always a free consultation with Dr. Matez when you tell him you heard about him on the radio. 561-320-8893. 561-320-8893.
Hey, it's Scott from Margaritaville at Sea. Make planning your next adventure in 2024 a breeze with Margaritaville at Sea's fan favorite buy one, get one free sale. Whether you're looking for a quick weekend getaway to soak up the Caribbean sun,
I'm reading this story.
on a longer vacation to Key West in Mexico.
I'll wait till I get back. It's insane. How many of you, yes or no, have you gotten one of those DNA tests done? I've never gotten one done. Never.
Unlock the ultimate license to chill and book your ticket to Paris today at margaritavillatSea.com.
This is Steve Kane. I want to tell you about my favorite restaurant in all of
This is an insane story.
Wings Plus in Coral Springs. Wings just the way you like them. Plump, tender, and delicious. Crispy on the outside, succulent on the inside. Everything homemade.
Oh, no, I'll never get one.
Specialty sauces that will make your mouth water. Wings Plus, located in Coral Springs, a mile west of University on the south side of Sample Road. Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, Kingston Local on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
All right, welcome back. Callers on hold, stand by. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. I want to talk to you about this great offer that Sloman's is offering right now. They're giving you a free home security system with professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. That's a $1,500 value, by the way. Okay, you get an LED touchscreen pad, a motion detector, 10 entry points, a lifetime service plan, professional installation, and a backup battery. You also will get a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. This is a great offer. You'll love this. The doorbell camera in particular. I mean, it's amazing to have, and it's incredibly convenient. Give them a call, 1-833-283-5050. 1-833-283-5050. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Morning, Brian. This is Bill from Sanford.
Hey, Bill.
Two things. One quick. I was wondering whether Trump got tipped off on Mar-a-Lago and maybe sent his attorney or one of his kids over to empty the safe before they got there.
No way. No way, because that would be like hiding evidence. No, there's no way they would do something like that.
Well, as far as the DNA, my brother got one, and it turned out to be what I thought would be very close. I'm half Irish and half German, and it came in 50% Irish. It's an island, which that makes sense, and then 30-some% German, and the rest European.
Mm-hmm. Okay. No, all right. I appreciate the call from Sarah, but no, Trump would not have done that. No.
When you're talking about the fact that
they
safe,
when you're somebody like Trump, you have more. Somebody like you or me, we might if we have a safe, we'll have just one. When you're a billionaire 10 times over, you probably have multiple safes and vaults and all kinds of things.
Well, yeah, that's right. He's not at Mar-a-Lago that much. He's probably more
about half the year.
New Jersey, New York, or
exactly.
Just a thought.
All right, take care. Now, this thing about DNA. How many of you have gotten one of these DNA tests? I have never gotten one, and I will never get one. Although so many people in my family have gotten them that I might as well have done it anyway. And a few years ago, the 23andMe, they were offering these things for almost free, and everybody was doing them a few Christmases back. Remember this? And the reason I don't do it, this is all a big government op, these DNA tests. They wanted to put together a DNA database, and now they have it of the entire planet. Even people like me that haven't done it, so many of our relatives have. They got it anyway, and the purpose was that. Okay, that's why I've never done it. And they're also very destructive for families. Families have been destroyed over these 23andMe tests. If you're on hold, stand by. I just want to finish. There's a story about this, and I've been a big advocate against these 23andMe tests. I know someone that found out that her sister was only her half-sister, and the whole family found out that mom cheated on dad and got pregnant, and no one knew, including dad, until this 23andMe freebie thing came out a couple Christmases ago. I mean, I got a message on Facebook from a woman. I found out my grandfather had an affair when he was in his 50s and with a woman down the street and had a kid. And by the way, she didn't just send me. Now, my grandparents are dead, but the woman, not only did she message me, she messaged all my cousins. So now the whole family, including my aunts and uncles and everyone, found out that granddad had an affair and had this child. I mean, it's very destructive. They do this thing when you put it up there. It's connected to the Ancestry.com site, these DNA tests. And, people get... people get matched. People find out that mom and dad had kids they didn't know about. I got contacted by a guy that's in the service in Japan. He's my brother. Now, I didn't get the DNA test, but some of my cousins did, so we got matched up. I mean, it's crazy, and I'm sure some of you out there have had. And I saw this story in the news yesterday that a woman put out. I had sex with my half-brother. Did you see this? This woman found out that her high school boyfriend was her brother, half-brother. And apparently the parents went to one of those fertility doctors, and the doctor used his own sperm, right? And her high school boyfriend was her half-brother, and they had sex. And, I mean, that's a terrible thing to learn. That's a very bad thing to learn. And then she goes on television now. She's all over the internet. This story's gone viral. She gives out her name and shows herself. They even show her in pictures with her high school boyfriend that she was having sex with. They blur out his face, but everyone knows. I mean, she's She's a therapist. Most every therapist you ever meet's a lunatic. That's why they become therapists. Except Dr. Lemaski, okay, our therapist. But all the rest. Why would this woman, I understand that's traumatic. Wow. Luckily it didn't continue beyond high school. But, she goes public. Now everyone that knows her entire family know that her dad's not her dad, that she was having sex with her brother in high school. And by the way, everybody that knows him knows that he was having sex with his sister in high school, including his wife and kids. These DNA tests are nothing but destructive. And they can talk about, well, they caught the Golden Gate Killer. Okay, that's a good thing, I guess. Well, not I guess it is. But how much damage has been done? And I imagine, like you in this audience, have any of you found out that one of your parents had a child you didn't know about while you were alive? Anybody find out that their sister is only their half sister, like these people I know? I mean, it's terrible. And those are just a handful of things that I have an experience with. Not this brother and sister sex thing. I don't know these people. This is not my family. This is in the news. But these other, I know I'm not the only one. Okay? And that's why these DNA tests are bad, bad, bad news. And when they were promoting them big time a couple years ago, I was saying, don't do this. Nothing good is going to come out of this. And, not only, how can you trust the government to have your DNA, right? Not only can they take your DNA, they can plant it too, right? I mean, I don't trust the national, now it's probably international DNA database. But when I see stories like this, what good came out of this story? And this lunatic lady doing all these interviews with her name and face out there, this poor half-brother of hers, she should not have even told him about it. Not to mention do national interviews and go viral worldwide. So I don't know, do any of you have any of these horror stories of the DNA test, or is it just me and my freaky family and this lady here in the news? I don't know, but I'll never get one done. Never. My daughter did, because since she's adopted, she wanted to know about her background, and she found out some things, but she said, Dad, why don't you do it? And I said, what am I going to find out? I'm either white, because my mother's adopted, so I really don't know all my background, right? I'm going to find out I'm white from England or France or Germany or Scotland. I mean, what? I'm going to find out I'm a white guy. I mean, what am I going to? And even if I find out, I said to my daughter, I said the only thing that I could benefit from taking a DNA test, if I find out that I'm like 1% African American, then I can be like Blacks for Trump or something. But short of that, what would be the point? Because I could make a whole career out of it being, identifying as black if I had some black DNA in me. But I said, so what? I find out I'm a white guy? I mean, why would I do this? And every once in a while, at least once a year, I'll get a message from somebody that found something through these DNA tests. And it's never good. In fact, this lady, I hope she's not listening, because then I'm going to really get get messages today. My grandfather's love child. Not only did she contact all my cousins and my living aunts and uncles, so we could all know that Granddad. I always wondered why my grandparents retired early and moved to Florida. Now I know it was because Granddad got the woman pregnant down the street. But not only did she contact us, my grandfather had been in contact with them for years, and she sent us pictures. And that was a little disturbing, because I remember taking pictures with him wearing the same outfits he was wearing with the love child. It was just, it's not good. There's no good that comes out of it. All right, anyway, let's take our break for the bottom of the hour. I mean, that's just me. Don't get the DNA test. All right, please. 1-888-GO-CANE1's the number. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're gonna really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
see the lights.
Okay. Which mic is that one?
Be the third one.
Okay, and what do I set it on? Audition?
And, yeah.
And B or A?
Press A. Yeah, keep it on that. If
Okay.
not, then flip it. Actually, turn it off program real quick. And then turn it on.
Mm-mm. Try it now. Wait, I gotta turn it off to do it. Okay.
Test.
Mm-mm.
Because I thought
That's the audition levels right there, right?
Yeah, so I think those are the taps.
Oh, okay, so that was an A. We'll find out.
Yeah, I was about to say, we'll see. Then,
I'll just put it in B if it doesn't work.
Gotcha. And make sure it's in program so we can... Oh, well, they say if there's a caller while he's on, I'll put him in the...
Oh, well, yeah, we won't take any calls.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
And then, like, if someone's, like, on hold...
Mm-hmm. Beautiful day out today. She found her parents or her grandparents. Oh my goodness, her sisters, her mother. Yeah, that's what happened to Jack Nicholson. Nothing good comes out of those DNA tests. Nothing.
Celebrating 47 years.
All right, welcome back, everyone. 35 minutes after the hour. It's Thursday, February 15th. My name's Brian. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-CANE-1. You know, this tragic shooting in Kansas City, I mean, it's just god-awful. You know, there's not much to say about it other than it's god awful, and it's just sad. I mean, it really is. But there, as all these shootings are. But you've seen the interview with the guy that intervened and tackles the shoot. How many of these incidents do you see where it's not the police that stop a shooter? It's people that are there. Even that Tulsi Gabbard shooting at that event, there was a guy who was had his own private gun. He was in a store when that happened. He heard the shots. He came out and got the shooter. Not every time, but many times you see incidents like this, and it's a civilian, not the police. There was one church shooting a few years ago where they had some of the parishioners were retired and off-duty police, not active, not on duty, and they stopped a shooter. Remember that? And that's why when liberals say, when they start their gun control talk, which they're not doing too much after these recent shootings. Most of the recent shootings have evaporated because, like, the Joel Osteen one was a transgender, pro-Palestinian terrorist shooter and stuff like this. So when the background doesn't fit the narrative, it goes away. But when they talk about gun control and such, and obviously this wasn't a guy with a gun that stopped this, but you need to be able to protect yourself because, police, they do a good job sometimes. Not that guy in Parkland, but they do a good job some of the time. But the police are after the fact. Okay? The police are after the fact. They're not there at the time. Look at that Uvalde shooting. Look at what those idiot cops did in Uvalde, right? There was one guy who was an off-duty federal agent. I can't remember who he was with, DA or something. He was getting his hair cut. They had the news on in the barbershop. He heard about the shooting. He had kids there. He borrowed a 12 gauge from the barber, got in his car, drove to the school to save his kids. Not the police. And we saw the police in the hallway that were sanitizing their hands. Remember that joker? I'm not anti-police, but they are after the fact. They respond when things after they've happened. And when these terrible incidents happen, if somebody is armed with, I don't carry a concealed weapon. We've got concealed carry in Florida without a permit now. I have not once carried my weapon. I even went out and bought a new holster so that I could easily carry. I could be carrying it now. You wouldn't know with this incredible holster I got, but I don't carry. That doesn't mean that I don't think people should. I wish we had open carry, and a lot of people don't like open carry. I wish we had open carry in Florida. Ron DeSantis, when he ran for governor the first time, and even after he was elected, he said by the time he leaves office, we will have open carry in Florida. And that failed, and he couldn't get that through. And I was surprised. A lot of very strong Second Amendment supporters are against open carry. And one of the reasons they say that is because people can take a gun off of somebody. Maybe, but I like open carry. And the reason I always say I like open, not concealed, is because of the Florida weather. When you have a gun concealed, it has to be completely concealed, meaning that even if you have it under your shirt, for example, if there's it depends on the cop, okay? But if there's an outline of the gun showing, it's technically not concealed, okay? And you're in violation of the law. And I think just because of the Florida weather, since it's so warm here, and the clothes that we don't wear layers of clothes like they do around the country, that it's harder to conceal. And I like open carry, and I was really looking forward to that, and was very disappointed it didn't happen. If we had open carry, I probably would carry. If we had open carry. But there's so much involved with concealed carry and things that it's just. But most of the time, but when you see these incidents like this in Kansas City, though, it really, you see these stories time and time again. It's not the police; they're the first responder. They're responding, but it's oftentimes a civilian. Like, look, even at Parkland, there were people on the scene who went to take action, right? And it works, and you got to be prepared. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, Lewis in Broward.
Hey, Lewis.
How are you? Hey, I hate to. I'm not even trying to correct you, but in Florida, actually, when you're carrying concealed and you see the outline of the gun, they call that printing.
Mm-hmm.
Printing is actually legal in the state of Florida.
That I've not heard, because I stand to be corrected, but I've taken, I don't know, maybe 6 or more concealed weapon permit courses over the years, and every course I took, the instructor told me if the outline of the gun can be seen, that's a violation.
Yeah, I mean, and again, this is not for me to be argumentative, and I should.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I've just been told this. And most of the, not all, but at least half of the instructors were retired police officers from the courses I took, and they all told me that. So maybe it's wrong, but that's what I've been told.
Well, the courses I took as well, they didn't mention that in the course. And you know what? I'll do a little fact finding, and I'll either message you or I'll call in another time on a Friday or something, and I'll dig up the statute, but. You can print in Florida and not get in trouble. You can't expose. I mean, you can't, unintentionally, if you reach up for a box of cereal and someone sees your gun, that could get someone in a bit of a pickle because you're not doing enough to conceal it. But it printing as an outline.
Well, and a lot of it, listen, this is, I think there's too many complications to concealed weapon. If we had open carry, it'd be a lot less complicated. We'd have no problems. And all of these things that we're talking about really are at the discretion of whatever police officer you're dealing with, okay? And exactly. And and sometimes you can get a guy that escalates things. So it's that's the main reason that I don't carry, and everyone, especially Steve, but everybody tells me I shouldn't talk about this, that I don't carry, I should make people think I do, and I don't. The reason, and I always tell this to people, If I had to use my gun in self-defense, it would most likely be against, like I had these guys that tried to steal my MAGA scooter last year, right? They were 2 guys, they were Hispanic, speaking Spanish, at least one of them probably was illegal. I'm standing there in a MAGA hat, these guys try to rob me. If I use my gun in defense and shot one of them, I'm done, they'll put me under the jail. And it's easy to say I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6, I get all that. But my experience, and I've been in some hairy situations from time to time, my experience is the best thing you can do is get out of there. Get out of the area the best you can, and you got a better chance. Because if you're a conservative guy, especially wearing a MAGA hat like me, if I use my gun totally legally in self-defense and shot a black guy or a Hispanic guy, they'd be bringing up tapes of me from 20, 30 years ago saying God only knows what with callers. I'd be done. Remember?
They would tag you as premeditated no matter what.
Yeah.
And I conceal carry. I would run away faster and quicker than I would ever think of pulling a gun out. I do it strictly for if I'm caught in a mass shooter situation like that parade yesterday. I'd like to know I'm on standby to defend myself or anyone around me, rather than waiting for law enforcement to show up.
Absolutely.
But I agree. I think open carry would be great, especially with the heat down here and the things that you said before. But no matter what, no matter open carry, concealed carry, the smartest thing is get out of Dodge. Why even?
Yeah, there's another thing too that a lot of people that have jobs like me promote. This insurance policy that covers your legal defense if you have to use your gun in self-defense. That's the dumbest policy you could buy. You buy that policy, they're going to go premeditated on you. That you got that, yeah.
Yeah, that mindset and that thought that, I'll have this and I'll shoot someone and everything will be okay. And, it'll never work out in your favor. You're better off just getting out of there.
In my situation, I know this sounds stupid. I'm better off getting shot and surviving than using a gun in self-defense. Yeah, because remember what happened with Mark Furman during OJ? They had that tape when he was writing that screenplay with that author, and and he said the N-word, and that was it. What are they? Now they're not going to get any tape of me saying that, but who knows? They could take one of these calls from Renee and look at his disdain for African Americans, and the next thing I know, I'm life in the Florida penitentiary. All right, thanks for the call. All right, we'll take our last break of this hour and be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve.
All right, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you today?
Great. What do you have for us this morning?
Well, I was going to talk about the outrageous cost of long-term care.
Oh, boy, yeah.
It's out of hand, and so if you or someone you care about is receiving care, whether at home through a private duty aid or going to assisted living facilities or skilled nursing facilities, otherwise known as nursing homes, you're probably spending a lot of money. Now, you may have long-term care, and if you do, that's great. And if you do, it may not last forever, and you could run out. So then it really comes down to what are the alternatives to spending down your assets and potentially going broke. And that is qualifying for government benefits. And that government benefit typically is Medicaid. And Medicaid, the problem is that it's not that you can't get it. Most of you can. The problem is most of you don't believe that you can get it. Most of you don't get the correct information or jump to the conclusion that, oh, well, there's this 5-year look back. Oh, it's for people who have low income and low assets and I can't qualify. And if you don't have the right information, you don't get the right solutions, and you may end up having to spend on your assets unnecessarily when all you had to do was to get the right information and have a solution that could end up saving everything that you've ever worked for, everything you've ever saved, everything you ever wanted to leave behind for your loved ones, and all it takes is getting the right information.
Absolutely. And don't think that, you have too much money, your house is too big. Call the Siegel Law Group. It's a totally no-charge consultation with the Siegel Law Group when you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the program, and let them look over your situation. And they'll tell you if you can qualify or not. And that now this coverage, Barry, that takes care of home care, nursing room care, right? And then and what about if somebody just needs to be visited, maybe like once a day? Does it cover that kind of thing too?
Well, yeah, that would be home care. Right?
Home care. Okay, that's going
to have a certain number of hours as a minimum.
Yeah.
They may not do just 1 hour, but home care, Medicaid can cover up to 40 hours of care a week.
Wow.
It just depends on how many hours you need, and they do an assessment, and it could always be reassessed.
And we've all heard terrible stories, and maybe know someone in our families this has happened, where you've got an elderly spouse, grandma and grandpa, one of them falls ill, they sell the house to cover nursing home care. They burn through that money, they're broke, and then eventually, the spouse passes away, and the surviving spouse is left homeless. These tragedies, they don't have to happen. Call the Siegel Law Group. Now remember, no matter where you are in the state of Florida, the Siegel Law Group can help. Here's the number, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And if you missed the number, just go to their website and get it there, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel will finish out the week tomorrow.
All right.
Back after this.
Social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Okay, so the southern border, there's so many different things going on with this open border. It's not any one thing. There's many things going on down there. And I saw a story yesterday, and this has been reported on. This is not a secret story, although it's not being highlighted. But it is being estimated that there are 22 House seats that are in existence because of the illegal immigrants. The way the House works, there are only 435 members of the House of Representatives, 435 members. And every time there's a census every 10 years, some states lose House seats, some states gain House seats. They're reallocated every 10 years. Right now, they're saying that 22 seats exist only because of the illegals in that area. You remember during the last census or two, there's been a lot of controversy over illegals. They wanted to, remember this? They wanted to put on the This was in the 2020 or the 2010 census? I can't remember which one it was. But I think it was 2020 because Trump was talking about it. They wanted to have on the census a determination as to whether or not someone was an undocumented immigrant or here legally. And the left were very successful in keeping that off the census. Not that they would actually have to write down the answer because you volunteer your information, you know. And they didn't want that there because now a lot of people are saying, well, wait a minute, should illegal immigrants be counted for congressional representation? And the answer is no. And one of the many things why should they have representation? They're not even supposed to be here. They're criminals, right? They're in the country illegally. And with the over 4.5 million a year that have come in the last 3 years, this year it's probably going to break that number by far, with Biden, illegals are being moved all over the country. Now, some are being moved by Greg Abbott and such, but most are being moved by the federal government. And they're not randomly putting them places. They are moving illegals into certain communities for the next census, okay? These Democrats are sneaky. And the Democrats have lost the pulse of the American people, but if they can reallocate these people to certain areas, some states that are blue states will gain congressional representation that they've lost. Like Florida, we always gain seats because the population of Florida is always gaining. But some states, some of them like New York, they losing people. New York in the next census will lose seats in the House because so many people have fled New York, for example. Florida we've always gained, as far as I can remember, pretty much, right? I don't remember a time when we lost a seat. So if we didn't gain, we maintained, but we're gaining. In the next census or two, Florida is going to become the most populated state, it's believed, okay? So so part of this thing, again, it's many things, but a part of it is to get more blue seats in the House. It's I tell you, do the Democrats ever do anything on the up and up? Everything the Democrats do is some sleazy, dishonest scheme. And, I understand why the Washington Democrats do these things because they're in power and they want to have the power and they get money off of this. But for the life of me, I really can't understand why rank and file Democrats, like voters, people listening to me, some of these people I talk to on the phones, why they support this. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, and when you see all of these little sneaky things that they're doing, 22 seats is a lot of seats. And I promise you, they're Democrat seats, okay? Now, counting this, they used to count the slaves for congressional districts, but they're not the same as elite. Now, they didn't fully count them, the 3/4 thing, but they weren't illegal, okay? They couldn't vote, but they weren't illegals. They were brought here. This is a whole different thing, and I got a lot of feedback on yesterday's show from people, and there were a couple of calls that came in on yesterday's show about that woman that brought the illegals into her house. And if you listen to the show yesterday, there was one guy that called. He was originally from Argentina, and then there was another woman who was Hispanic. I can't remember where she was from. But both of them were very sympathetic. And the guy from Argentina to these illegals living in this woman's home, and what I told him is he's not thinking like an American. He's thinking like an Argentinian, whatever you call them in Argentina. And the other woman who was Hispanic, I had a similar comment with her. That's another part of their plan. Okay? Do you see this story where these guys threw the red powder all over the Constitution at the National Archives yesterday? And the police just did nothing. They let them do it. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Now, that's the original Constitution. Now it's behind glass and everything. They didn't damage it. But why didn't those guys get it? Those calls yesterday and the reaction of those police officers at the National Archives yesterday, another purpose of the southern border is they're eroding our culture, right? They're not. It's not that they're just teaching terrible things about this country through critical race theory and such, but we have millions of people coming into this country that are not thinking like Americans. And every country that you're in, if you're going to live there, you're expected, except this one, to assimilate to that culture. And every country has their own ways and their own culture and their own way of looking at things. And they're eroding our culture. And you could hear it, sadly, with some of these callers I talked to yesterday on the phone here. And it's been done through the illegal immigration and no assimilation. But the Democrats are being very successful with this, much more successful than people realize. And, President Trump had a great speech in South Carolina last night. He's been talking a lot about the deportations. And the deportations, which will be the largest deportation operation probably in history that Trump's going to bring us when he comes back in. It's popular with me and MAGA people, but there are millions of people in this country, like these callers I was talking to about these illegals in this lady's house in Boston, that are going to have complete meltdowns over it. And it's not going to be as easy as you think, because people think, way too many people think, that they have a right to be here when they don't. And the reason there's immigration laws is many, but you can't bring people here. It's what Michael Savage said: borders, language, culture. That's what and borders. Borders are important. We don't have a border, but border first, because they've erased it. But borders, language, and culture are what makes a country. And we're losing it all, right? We've lost the border. We're losing the culture. The language we still got, okay, for now. But those three things that are important for a country to be a country have been eroded by the Democrats. And they're being more successful with it than you realize. And this isn't like if you go to, been going to Miami my whole life, and there's a great Cuban culture down there and all that stuff. But they're American. They may speak Spanish and have great Cuban food and all that stuff, but they're still like Americans, and they think like us when you get down to it. Okay? But that's not what's going on here. And that's why there's so much resistance going on with what's happening at the southern border. Now, I want to tell you guys that the free shipping offer with MyPillow continues with our promo code Kane at checkout. Mike Lindell this week unveiled a whole bunch of new and massive specials at MyPillow.com. So remember, you get the deal on the special plus free shipping. And that's free shipping site-wide, no matter how large or small the item is. And on some of these it's a big savings on all of them. I mean, you order the towel set for $29.99. You get the towel set for $29.99 and free shipping. That's a big savings. The MyPillow mattress topper, as much as 50% off. It depends on which one you order. It's either 50 or 40% off, depending on which one you order. Plus free shipping. The mattress topper comes in a big box. Free shipping, that's a big savings, okay? I recently bought a mattress. Imagine what you would save on that. So, you get these, whatever you get, plus free shipping, that's a double savings, and that savings on the shipping is much larger than you realize. Now, go check out all the new specials. There are huge new specials there, huge, deep, and deeper discounts than I've ever seen. In fact, you can save as much as 80% off with our promo code Kane at checkout. Now, the free shipping, I don't know how long this offer is going to last. I really don't. Okay, but it's there now. So take advantage and load up. Go to MyPillow.com. Use our promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, at checkout. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. All right, we'll take our break for the top of the hour. There's much more to discuss. We'll get into many more things. Back to your calls as well. Our number, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll be back right after this.
WWNN Pompano Beach. WMeyer. HD3 Indiantown. Programming paid for by Vic Canales Media Group. Broadcasting from the...
Hey, Mike, is that Joe Thomas on the line there? Yeah. I think that's the line he calls in on.
561-570-5700. Robes winning for you and our community. Your home for the Steve Kane Show. From the Palm Beach Patio Furniture Weather Center, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created, here's the Oldies forecast.
Good day, everybody. Hope you're doing well. On this Thursday, we'll see a daytime high here in the mid-70s again today. Partly cloudy skies, low humidity with a northeast wind. I'm WPBF 25 First Warning Meteorologist Sandra Shaw. Weather brought to you by Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Route 1 Seminole Plaza Shops, North Palm Beach. Palm Beach Patio Furniture.
Yep.
Voted in the best of the best patio store in Palm
There's a
Beach.
back line somebody was on as well.
PalmBeachPatioFurniture.com, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created.
And now, a true oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Jupiter 95 northbound approaching Indian Town Road. A vehicle fire had just been removed from the right lane and pushed over to the right shoulder, but we're still seeing some slow traffic on the approach to the scene. We do have a vehicle fire also on Indian Town Road at Pratt Whitney Road. Multi-vehicle crash on Donald Wells Road at I-95. And another crash lingers in Boynton Beach on Lyons Road just north of Boynton Beach Boulevard. This report is sponsored by Robert Half. Robert Half research indicates 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. They're recruiting professionals, use proprietary AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today. That's traffic for Spawn.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. It's showtime in the Paddock Restaurant at PBKC with an exciting lineup of comedians like Joe DeVito March 1st and 2 shows each from Adam Carolla in March and Pauly Shore in April. And check out the fabulous dinner shows with So Good, the Neil Diamond Experience in March and Patty Nix in April. For tickets and info, go to pbkennelclub.com.
Hi, it's Brian Craig. Let me ask you this. Are you planning on retiring in the next 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, at any point in your life? Or are you already retired? Listen, economically, it's a mess with the stock market ups and downs and inflation out of control. In fact, it's the highest inflation rate in 40 years. You need a plan of action for your retirement plans. You need the advice of a retirement expert who can help you protect your money, guarantee your income, and stop losing money. Joe Thomas is president of Retirement Network Advisors, South Florida's premier retirement experts, and has been for over 20 years. He's seen it all and is a true professional that you can trust. They're family owned and operated. His daughter Jenny works with him. You know Joe and Jenny from right here on True Oldies. He's the host of the Jupiter Joe Money Show. He's been doing that for over a decade. You need Jupiter Joe's book, The Retirement Know-It-All. Mention my name, Brian Craig, and receive a free copy of his ebook. Go to jupiterjoe.com or call 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. Take advantage of his free phone consultation too. Go to jupiterjoe.com or call 561-743-0999.
What?
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 47 years on the radio. If you're on hold, stand by. It's time to check in with Joe Thomas, our retirement expert here. Joe Thomas, good morning.
How you doing?
Good, good, good. What do you have for us this morning?
Tell you what, everybody's got a 401k out there if they're working for the man, and I got to tell you, you got to protect it right now with everything going on. And we have a great deal and a great offer today. I thought, normally we don't talk about rates, but today I want to. This particular company gives you a 10% bonus up front on your money, so it takes care of any losses that you may have had in the market, and then it gives you 8.25% per year credited to your income rider, and then you can take income for life when you want after 12 months. So it's perfect for somebody retiring in the next 1 to 5 years.
So walk me through this now. Walk me through it one more time, because that sounds like a pretty good deal, and you caught me off guard with it.
It is, and I wanted to, because we've been doing a lot of business with this particular company. I don't like mentioning company on air because I wanted to keep clients in person. You know, it might not fit their specific needs. But this particular deal, let's say you have $100,000, they'll give you a $10,000 bonus.
Oh my goodness.
Front. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And then every year that you do not take income and you defer it, you get another 8.25% credited to your income account. So it's a pretty good deal. You're getting 18.25% the first year on your money, and it's safe. You can't lose any money. There is an annual fee they charge you of 1.2%, but it's well worth it in the long run. And this particular contract turns into income for life, guaranteed for the rest of your life, that you cannot outlive, just like Social Security, just like a pension if you have one. So it's a great deal all the way around.
Well, that's what I thought you said about that bonus, but I wanted to make sure, because that's an amazing offer. Now listen, Joe Thomas is offering no charge phone consultations if you mention you heard him here on the radio, and you can take advantage of this no matter where you are in the country. Now, if you have a 401k, Joe Thomas can take care of everything so far as transferring that into an annuity for you. And remember, and this is something that's insane to me, if you have a 401k with a former employer, they are making money off of your 401k, even though they may have fired you. Okay, so get it out of that 401k and protect your money in an annuity. Joe Thomas's number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed that number, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. Not only is Joe Thomas offering a free phone consultation, he's also offering free copies of his book, The Retirement Know-It-All. That's jupiterjoe.com and 561-743-0999. All right, Joe Thomas, some great information, an incredible offer, and we'll talk to you next time. All right, thanks so much. Okay, if we'll go right back to the phones at 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
How you doing, Brian?
All right, what's up?
Yeah, I got more of a question for you than anything else. I mean, I believe Trump is going to win in 2024.
Yes.
That he won in 2020. But
well, you know, one of the big things that Trump is doing, okay, is and this has been going on all year with the Trump people. One of the things Trump is doing, okay, is getting a get out the vote operation going that we've never had before, and that involves if you hear President Trump, he talks about this a lot, about voting early if your state has early voting, okay, instead of voting on Election Day. And, you know, the Democrats, if you go to polling locations, they're empty a lot of times on Election Day, because Democrats have their entire campaign revolving around early voting. So when Election Day comes, we're already behind millions of votes. You understand what I mean? There are millions of votes ahead on Election Day because our people don't vote early. I like to vote on Election Day. I've voted early once or twice. And I always feel left out on Election Day. But there's all kinds of problems with that, okay? There's technical problems. But how can we expect they vote for like 3 weeks to a month? We vote on one day. How can we catch up that day? So this is just one example. There's other things Trump is doing. But what President Trump didn't have in the first two campaigns was a get out the vote organization, which he now has around the country. So that's a, you know, and I very well may vote early this time myself.
Question. And one more thing, and then I'm going to go. I'm an old Kennedy Democrat converted to a Republican, and an old Democrat up north told me a long time ago, it's not how many ballots are cast, it's how many are counted. And they've been cheating since the...
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, what they don't have this time around is a story, too, you know. They don't have a story. Yeah, and everybody hates Trump and all this stuff, and they have a senile old coot failed president, and the Democrat voter turnout is going to be severely depressed. You know, these stories that I talk about all the time, that CNN and MSNBC showing that Trump is ahead of everyone, including Biden. They even have some new polls out today that have all the Democrat third-party candidates there. Trump's still ahead. And what the mainstream liberal media, CNN, MSNBC, Washington Post, all of them, they keep doing stories on these polls, which further reduces their turnout. You know, so the Democrat establishment and are doing a lot of things that are going to suppress their voter turnout. So, you know, and another thing, you know, talking about what you're talking about discourages turnout on our side. You know, we don't want people saying, "What's the point?" That's why I don't talk about it. You know, if people think, "Oh, well, you know, they're just going to," why, and something comes up and they're busy, they won't vote. We need to have the largest turnout we've ever had for a Republican, and I think we will. And I'm not attacking you, but talking the way you're talking depresses turnout.
Well, no, that's the question I had. Now I got the answer, and it actually alleviates the fears that I had.
Okay.
That's why I asked the question.
Yeah.
And not voting.
Yeah, no, it's important. I mean, I know a lot of people talk the way you do, and a lot of people do in media. But you know, I'm not saying this is true of you, because this is not. You're not a seminar caller or anything. You're legit. But a lot of seminar callers and fake MAGA people obsess over that issue, and it's a way for them to depress the MAGA voter turnout. And President Trump says we've got to swamp them, and that is true. You've got to vote early, especially in places like Arizona and Georgia.
Okay.
All right. All right. Take care. And look at what's going on in these primaries. We've swamped them in the primaries we've already had, and we're about to have another one in South Carolina where they're going to be swamped. So no, we've got everything on our side. And you know, one thing you hear when I'm talking to callers on many different issues, I don't come from a defeatist mindset on anything. That's a loser mentality. You know, you got to be positive. There's action, and the way that President Trump is running this campaign is much different than he ran his other campaigns. If you watch what he's doing, everything about it is different. He's doing smaller, more personal connections with people. He's got his get out the vote thing. The Trump organization in the last couple years had a lot of primary states flipped into winner takes all delegates for the convention. You see all these things going on. There is a when President Trump ran his first campaign, he was new to politics, okay? And I know a lot of people like to say, oh, he made some bad choices, hiring this person, hiring that person. He was an outsider in the world of politics. He didn't know these people any more than we know them. So he brought in some people that, betrayed him and messed up. He knows all these people now, so he knows who he can trust and who he can't. And he's also got a professional organization that he didn't have in the first campaign. The second campaign, he was a little bit distracted by, everything that was going on back then. Okay? And now he has probably the most professional, organized, national presidential campaign that a Republican has ever had in the modern era. And, a lot of these callers like this, that guy's a good guy, because I'm not giving, he's not one of your typical, people that, that would give a hard time about. But I talk a lot, you hear some of the conservative callers, a lot of conservative callers talk like losers. And I always bring this up. Prior to Trump, that Republicans were losers all the time. Our people didn't stand up. They didn't fight. They didn't do what was right. They always caved. They were always apologizing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? So, we're in a whole nother mindset today. And I really, I have tolerance for most things, but I do lose my patience with MAGA Republicans with a defeatist attitude of discouragement. You look at these polls. President Trump is at 65% in South Carolina. That's amazing. Nikki Haley was twice elected governor of that state, and she's 30 points behind. Come on. That's absolutely amazing. There's a new poll out today that has Trump not up just against Biden, up against Biden, Bobby Kennedy, that Williamson lady, and any other, and all these other third-party guys. He's still at over 40%, and Biden's like at 37, 35 or something in that. I can't remember the exact number, but Trump's ahead in all the polls, even when they have like 8 people up against him in it. Okay. So we're in a whole nother area. Forget about all that stuff from last time. It doesn't apply now. And if anyone tells you it does, well, you might want to check their MAGA credentials. They might be fake MAGA. All right, we'll take our first break of the third hour and be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines.
Unbelievable. Joe got disconnected.
You got disconnected?
Yeah. The phone, I didn't even notice. The phone went dead, and I finished without him, and then he called back a minute ago, but then he hung up again. You want to call him back? And I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
if he wants to do it again tomorrow, tell him we can do it again tomorrow. Just pick the time. Because I finished up without him, but yeah. No, it went dead. Unbelievable.
He said it's alright. He said that was on him. His wireless phone was having a lot of problems. He said next time he's just going to come in because if he prefers that more and he likes to see you anyways.
Yeah, because I went to him and he was gone.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that the line went dead.
Yeah.
Is he going to call in tomorrow?
No, he said that's okay.
Okay.
He said he'll see us next month.
Okay. He'll come in studio. Okay.
Yeah, he prefers that.
Yeah. All right, welcome back, one and all. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Are you in pain? If you answered yes, that means you haven't taken my advice and gone to see Dr. Philip Appleton and talked to him about his laser wave pain treatment. Guys, come on. You got to do this. It's amazing. You know, I remember when I first went over there and met Dr. Appleton the first time, he showed me a video and talked to me about the laser wave pain treatment. My knee was in massive pain, year. And I'm like, okay, I was like, I don't know, with this laser wave pain, I've been suffering with pain since I was like really 20 years old. I couldn't believe it. It was a Thursday, and I had a treatment. A lot of the pain was gone the next day, 40% or so. I went back on that Saturday for a second treatment. I woke up on Sunday, the pain gone and had not returned. A miracle. Like 30 years of suffering. It works. Don't just take my word for it. Go experience it. You know, when I go to Dr. Appleton's office, sometimes I'll go. Last time I went for my shoulder, you know, and I don't see Dr. Appleton very often. And he says that, and I apologize. He's like, that's okay. That means you're not hurt. You're not in pain. He says, I see my patients that I don't see them for a long time till they hurt themselves again. But every time I go to Dr. Appleton's office, I run into listeners, and some of them want to hug me because they are pain-free now. And pain is tough. It's tough to live with, isn't it? Oh, it really is. Dr. Appleton's number is 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. Remember, appointments are not necessary. And walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. Give them a call and say bye-bye to your pain. Okay, you know, in relation to what the last caller was talking about, you know, the draining of the swamp that President Trump has to do, draining the swamp is not something that can be done fully in 4 to 8 years. I mean, it's just a mess, okay? But what we realized and what Trump realized is that the first swamp that's got to be drained is the Republican swamp. And President Trump had maybe a victory so large that the Republican establishment swamp have just been broken. And it involves the RNC. And this is, this story, it's being reported on, but I don't think people are letting sink in the significance. Now, this is from NBC News, Trump-hating NBC News. Donald Trump on Monday endorsed Michael Whatley to be the next head of the RNC and backed his daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, for co-chair. I want you to think about this. Lara Trump will eventually be the chair of the RNC. The RNC, and this is an amazing thing, is being taken over by the Trump family. The Trump family have an immediate family member that's taking over the RNC. Who would have thought, right? Who would have thought? The RNC is how the establishment maintains all of their power. They do the fundraising, and then they decide who gets the money. That's why these, in the House more than anywhere, but in the House, you see somebody vote, and it's completely out of character. Sometimes it's a honeypot. Sometimes they get that manila envelope. But other times, it's the RNC saying, no money for you or re-election campaign. So they vote for something in a way that's out of character to them. And Trump broke the RNC. Remember, during this whole Ronna McDaniel business that was going on, okay, the RNC were defaulting on loans. They're not raising money. And Bartiromo was interviewing Trump a couple weeks ago, and she didn't seem to get it, which really caught me off guard because she's like a financial person. And she was talking about what poor shape the Republicans are in because the RNC is not raising money and they've defaulted on a couple of things. And President Trump said, no, that people aren't donating. Republican voters are donating to me directly, not the RNC. President Trump went around and said, don't donate to the RNC. Go to my website, DonaldJTrump.com, and donate there. And people had been doing it. And when someone, this is true of the not just the RNC, but the DNC. Both the RNC and the DNC, that's where the big power is, and they control and corral everyone with the donors' money. And President Trump successfully got the donors to drop the RNC and broke them. And now the Trump family with Lara Trump, who's awesome, everybody loves her, right? She's taken it over, which means the Trump family's taking it over. And I think you could make a very strong case that when you have a member of the immediate Trump family becoming co-chair of the RNC, that the Republican establishment have really been busted. They're barely hanging in there now. They're almost gone and out of power. And it's happened. And this story, as I said, while it has been reported, I don't think the significance of it has been understood. You know, I keep talking about this Trump miracle. You know, just starting from January 6th until now, look at what's going on. Fani Willis is going to be in court today on television over this affair with her gigolo, and she's in trouble with that. She's in big trouble with that. And I'm not a legal expert, and I know people have varying opinions, but I've seen a lot of legal experts who said that if she's out of this case, her and her gigolo boyfriend, she's the sugar mama too, the case is done. It's going to be dismissed. Right? Yeah. And I'll tell you, Fanny's going to get arrested. And what's going to happen, her gigolo boyfriend is going to become a witness against her. Believe me, he's only with her for the money. He has no interest in her. He probably hates her. Okay? I mean, look at him and look at her. So they're going to go to him, and he's going to be facing jail, and he's going to sing like a canary. And she's going to be the one up on RICO charges. And he's going to detail all the little romantic conversations in bed before and after, they get it on about going after Trump, his meetings with the Biden White House and all. He's going to be the star witness against Fanny. All these things shaking over the RNC, Fanny, all of it, evaporated. This story that I was talking about in the last hour about they broke into Mar-a-Lago for, they thought Trump had the documents in a safe that Obama signed off on the spine of Trump Tower. That story just didn't coincidentally leak out this week. President Trump was in court in Fort Pierce this week at the documents trial with the Trump judge in Fort Pierce. All these things are falling apart, okay? Falling apart. And the Republican establishment of the party are in collapse right now. That doesn't mean they're going to leave him alone, okay? They're always going to be there. They're always going to be on TV. But losing the RNC, losing the Fani Willis case was the big case that they thought they were going to get him on. It's a state case. Even if he became president, that he wouldn't be able to do anything about it. Presidents can only pardon themselves on federal crimes and all these things. And that's about to fall apart. And they're going to find that she was guilty of federal crimes when this is over. We're in a place that is absolutely amazing. And that's why I have such little patience for people that are Debbie Downers. Now, I know there's a bunch of people on hold. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our bottom of the hour break, and I will go to the phones after the break. All right, our number 1-888-GO-CANE1. I'm Brian, back after this.
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. The greatest rock and roll hits of the 60s and 70s coming up this morning. From the Palm Beach Patio Furniture Weather Center, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created, here's the oldies forecast.
Good day, everybody. Hope you're doing well on this Thursday. We'll see a daytime high here in the mid-70s again today. Partly cloudy skies, low humidity with a northeast wind. I'm WPDF 25 First Warning Meteorologist Sandra Shaw. Weather brought to you by Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Route 1 Seminole Plaza Shops, North Palm Beach. Palm Beach Patio Furniture. Voted in the best of the best patio store in Palm Beach County. PalmBeachPatioFurniture.com, where luxurious outdoor spaces are created.
And now, a true oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
In Jupiter, 95 northbound approaching Indian Town Road, a vehicle fire had just been removed from the right lane and pushed over to the right shoulder, but we're still seeing some slow traffic on the approach to the scene. We do have a vehicle fire also on Indian Town Road at Pratt Whitney Road, multi-vehicle crash on Donald Ross Road and I-95, and another crash in Hingers and Boynton Beach on Lions Road just north of Boynton Beach Boulevard. This report is sponsored by Robert Half. Robert Half research indicates 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. They're recruiting professionals using proprietary AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today. That's traffic on Bruce Bar.
Traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. The Moneymaker Tour is back in the poker room.
Unbelievable.
February 15th through the 27th, featuring over $1 million.
I hate when I get emails from people during the show sometimes.
And Poker Pro Chris Moneymaker. You can also play your favorite table games every day with games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em or 3-card poker with just $5 minimum tables. Go to pbkennelclub.com for more info.
Hey, it's Scott from Margaritaville at Sea. Make planning your next adventure in 2024 a breeze with Margaritaville at Sea's fan favorite buy one, get one free sale. Whether you're looking for a
Center this year. It's our 75th anniversary, and we've been able to help a lot of patients. We want to be able to help you with your neuropathy issues as well. If you have numbness, burning, pain, tingling, lack of sleep, or balance issues, please come see us and let us help you with that problem. There's hope out there for you. We've had thousands of patients come through Lighthouse Medical Center. Being able to see the quality improved in their life and being able to help them and their family has been a blessing to us and a blessing to them, and we look forward to doing that for the next 75 years. We don't just treat neuropathy at Lighthouse Medical Center. We have a specialized knee pain program with non-surgical solutions for bone-on-bone and knee pain issues. We also treat chronic back pain, ankle, knee, hip, and shoulder pain. Call for a free consultation with us today. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642.
Hey, are you already dreaming about your next vacation getaway? Well, the True Oldies channel wants to send you cruising on Margaritaville at Sea. Check out a 3-day, 2-night cruise to the Bahamas with delicious island-inspired cuisine, amazing live entertainment, spectacular ocean breezes, and a whole lot more. Just go to TrueOldiesFLA.com to register for your chance to win. And here's more great news. Make planning your next adventure in 2024 a breeze with Margaritaville at Sea's fan favorite buy one, get one free sale. Whether you're looking for a quick weekend getaway to soak up the Caribbean sun or family fun on a longer vacation to Key West in Mexico, Margaritaville at Sea has got you covered with cruises for two starting at just $99. Use your savings to splurge on exclusive Grand Terrace suites aboard the all-new Islander and save up to $1,500. Unlock the ultimate license to chill and book your ticket to paradise today at MargaritavilleAtSea.com.
Hey, good morning, Brian and Felicia. And my husband and I received our My Pillow 2.0 that we ordered with Kane the other day to buy one, get one free. And they're our first My Pillows, and we love them. We absolutely love them. They're just absolutely marvelous. Yeah, I'm so glad. I got slippers on the way, too.
Go to MyPillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, and buy your My Pillow 2.0. Right now, buy one, get one free. You can also order by phone, toll free, 800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 47 years on the
All right, welcome back. We'll go right back to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Sean from Westlake Worth.
All right, your own made-up city. Westlake Worth is not an official designation, is it? Or is it? Maybe it is.
Oh, no.
Okay, I thought so.
Well, it is made up. Hey, I just was calling about the binder. There was an actual binder, and on January 19th, 2021, President Trump issued a memorandum on declassification.
Mm-hmm.
Memorandum, it mentions a binder. So I guess on December 30th of 2020, he got information.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, of course, DOJ and FBI have shown.
No, that's actually familiar. He did. It was in his final days of his first term. He did get some information, and that I remember reading about, and it involved the spying on Trump Tower. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Using other proxies, other Five Eyes countries. So yeah, it was a binder. I found it to be weird too, but Trump's Trump. So you know what I mean? I guess Kaylee had a binder too.
Well, that may be why Trump took Brennan's security clearance away, because the story that came out this week was that Obama signed off on Brennan spying on him, doing surveillance on Trump.
Absolutely. So anyway, have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your
All right. Appreciate it. And Brennan, who Obama tapped to head the CIA, a lot of people don't know this. You know he's Muslim, Brennan. He converted to Islam and speaks Arabic. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Good morning. Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name?
Hi, it's Eddie from Boca.
Hey, Eddie.
Just first-time caller.
Welcome.
Thank you. I enjoy your show. I'm going to make it real quick. I was listening to you a couple days ago, and you were talking about the lady from Brookline, Massachusetts, who took in migrants.
The illegals, yeah, yesterday. That was yesterday's show.
Okay, I was brought up in Brookline in the, in the 60s. I know the town well. This does not surprise me. It's a super liberal town. Going back to when I was a kid, I didn't know the difference, but
yeah,
they're being encouraged by selectmen at the town, where it's a town, not a city, so it's run by a board of selectmen, to bring in people.
It's very dangerous, and I'll tell you, there was a story of a woman who was killed in New York, this very good-looking Hispanic woman, and I knew when I saw this story, they found her dead in a hotel room. I said to Mary, she had married kids, I said she's either met somebody on a dating app or she's a prostitute. It came out she was a prostitute. And when people get killed from dating app dates or by a John as a prostitute, while it's terrible and everybody says, oh, it's so terrible, people say, wow, well, you live as a prostitute, you can get killed. If you meet strangers for sex on dating apps, you can get killed. If you move illegals into your house, you can get killed. And it's only a matter of time before, and this is going on nationwide, before one of these people get hurt or killed, God forbid, by these illegals into the house.
Right, I agree with you. And if I may say, if you went out to Boston.com, you would read an article, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, where the governor of Massachusetts, a Democrat, and the mayor of Boston, is also a Democrat, of course, is encouraging people to bring in these strangers.
Yeah.
I live in a nice area in Boca. I wouldn't let my neighbor in sleep in my house overnight.
Correct.
Never mind somebody from, you don't know where they're from. It's ludicrous, and it's only a matter of time when people are going to get robbed in the middle of the night, if not worse.
Well, a lot of times I've known people. There was, I won't. There was this radio guy. He was gay, and he used to bring guys. He would find all these guys that had problems, and he'd let them move in to be his roommate. And he'd find out they'd steal from him, and he wouldn't find out sometimes for like 6 months. They would take something he didn't notice was gone for like 6 months. You bring vagrants into your home. They're in survival mode, okay? And when people are in, even if they're good people, they're in survival mode. And you're bringing in the poorest of the poor, peasants from Latin America into your home. You're like a multi-millionaire to them, even though you're struggling in your middle class existence. And if they don't kill you or rape you, they could steal from you, and you may not know it till they max out that credit card and you get the bill in a month or something.
Brookline is located it borders the city of Boston. It's on the west side of Boston, goes right into Brookline, which goes into another upscale Democratic town of Newton, Massachusetts. And so, I mean, it's I don't know if you remember this, and I just want to say this in closing. I don't know if you remember a story it was NBC. This was years ago, probably 10 years ago, if not longer. They took a person in off the street. They gave him a home. They gave him clothes. They got him a job. I don't know if you remember the story. And he was a street person.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he was an American, but they gave him everything, and he ended up no good. A lot of problems with him. But I agree with you. These people are coming in from third world countries, and they don't understand what it is to have 3 meals a day, or people with jewelry on them, or nice watches, or nice cars, whatever. And, human nature, they become resentful.
That's right. And when they become resentful, the stealing becomes justified. And on top of the dangerous nature of it, And that one story I had yesterday where the Haitians are speaking fluent Spanish, someone's not telling the truth about where they came from. And that's all right. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call.
One last thing, if I may say, these people in Brookline, Massachusetts, that are encouraging people to take in people, I mean, they're looking for trouble. I mean, what a way to get into somebody's house. Beautiful, huh?
Oh, it's insane. And, you know, and they get in there and they got all, and again, hopefully they don't kill you or rape you, but they got access to all your personal information. And, you know, and when you're at work or at the store, all of a sudden they got your social security number, and then now there's some identity theft going. It's dangerous on every level.
Bad. Nice talking to you. Thank you.
All right, good to hear from you. All right, there's one opening on the board at 1-888-GO-CANE-1. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning.
Yes, speak up.
Oh, hi. This is Joan from Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I just Googled when the Republican primary was for the presidential election. I just Googled it. And it says it's March 19th. But guess what? A little on the right hand.
In Florida?
Yeah, for Florida. And Nikki Haley comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Not President Trump, not a box with his picture in it, but Nikki Haley.
Maybe he hasn't done the paperwork to be on the Florida primary ballot yet. I don't know. It's possible. I don't know. I just said that. I have no idea. It wouldn't surprise me. You know, DeSantis, he runs the Florida Republican Party, and he hates Trump. So it wouldn't. You know, there's a lot of Republicans. The Republican establishment of Florida, not people like you and me, but the establishment that run Tallahassee, a lot of them hate Trump, regardless of, they may not publicly tell you, but they hate Trump. Remember, they changed the law of Florida so DeSantis could run for president and stay governor. You know, and that was an anti-Trump move.
But, you know, I was just thinking, I just want to make sure what date I have to go to the polls.
I don't know that that's the exact date. I haven't thought that far ahead yet. I thought.
I Googled it.
Well, it doesn't matter. Nikki Haley can still be on the ballot. She's going to lose. Hey, listen, appreciate the call, John. I'll look into it. All right? All right, let's go. All right, thank you. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, Terry from Florida.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, what's up, man?
Not much.
Hey, I heard your name. I listen to your show, right? Good show.
Thank you.
I heard you say you don't fear Putin early this morning.
I do not fear Putin. That is correct. Why, do you?
You should be fearing your Putin because he got nuclear missiles pointed at America.
Yeah, not only does, listen to this, not only does Putin have nuclear missiles pointed to America, he has nuclear missiles that are armed with uranium that Hillary Clinton gave to him when she was Secretary of State.
Yeah, and the second thing is, he's going into space, going to put a missile on the moon.
A missile on the moon? You don't even have your talking point straight. It's not a missile on the moon. By the way, the moon's so far away, who cares? He's not. The talking point isn't a missile on the moon. The talking point is he's going to put a nuclear missile in space that can travel at 21,000 miles per hour. You got your talking points wrong. I don't think he's doing it. I think it's made up BS.
I think he's doing it because they do that kind of stuff.
I've got news for you. Okay, there has never been a moment in my life or your life, because of our ages, where Russia has not had missiles pointed to the United States, and they've never launched. I don't worry about it.
I understand that. But the thing is, he's waiting on Trump because that war in Ukraine, he want to win that so he can take over the world.
Okay, take over the world, yeah.
Number one problem.
Mm-hmm. No, we're not Russia's number one problem. We're not Russia's problem. Russia is not our problem, and we are not their problem.
But we will be.
No. But I don't know where you get your talking points, but why are your talking points so wrong? Where did you get this story that he wants to put a missile on the moon? Where'd that come from?
I hear it on the radio.
Not this radio. You didn't hear it on this radio, I'll tell you that.
But out there.
Well, whatever radio station. Now, I do understand when this program is on, the other radio stations in this market go dark, because why even put something on the air against this program? But if you're listening to a radio station that says that Putin's putting a missile on the moon, you better stop listening to them, all right? Take care. All right, we'll take our last break and be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on.
All right, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how the metals looking today?
Metal's good, strong in fact. The market yesterday rebounding from a low of $1,983 on gold, closing, getting as high as $1,996, but closing out the day at $1,991.90, just a little under $2,000. That was down 80 cents on the day. Silver, platinum, and palladium all gaining nicely yesterday. Silver was up 26 cents, closing at $22.33. Platinum was up $19, closing at $8.91. And palladium gained $75 at $925. The rally continues this morning as gold currently up about $11.10. That's at $2,003. High so far this morning is $2,005. The low overnight was about $19.91. Silver up 50 cents right now at $22.82 the ounce. Platinum gaining $4 at $8.95, and palladium up another $15 at $940. So market's very strong, very stable. That little buying bleep that opportunity that we've had this so far this week has been a great opportunity for everybody to jump into the gold metal and gold and silver prices at very low.
Oh yeah. Now let me ask you about silver, because I know that we've got like the best prices on the very sought after American Silver Eagle that we've seen in ages, and some of these other great great silver coins. Do you recommend, because prices are so good now, that people stick with like the when it comes to silver, like the Australian kangaroo or the American Silver Eagle, or are silver rounds a good buy?
Silver rounds are a good buy also. Yes, they're very, very reasonable price, and we've got a special on silver rounds for Steve Kane listeners this week for just $2 over the spot price of silver.
Wow.
Special on 100-ounce silver bars at just $1 over the spot price of silver. That's the lowest premium you've seen on 100-ounce bars in a long time.
Absolutely, and the rounds, that's really low, guys. You have no idea. I mean, it's really. Listen, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. And remember, no matter where you're located in America or the world, you can do your business with William Youngerman over the phone and through the mail securely. Give him a call, 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. If you missed the number, you can pick it up off his website, williamyoungerman.com, and stop in if you can. That deal on those 100-ounce silver bars, that is a huge, huge deal on 100-ounce silver bars, and those are beautiful, amazing bars. His address, 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. All right, William Youngerman, great news today, and we'll finish out the week tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, back after this.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, and we'll go back to our very busy phones. Our number, 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Brian, good morning. Hey, so can I ask you a quick question? Tucker going over to interview Putin and Ukraine. This is all Trump's agenda, Brian. Like, I bet you if Trump really wanted to, he could probably even end the war in Ukraine if he wanted to, giving, Putin all the land that seized. But this is all Trump's narrative, man. Everything he's doing, he's hurting the American people by wanting to become American president. He is killing Ukrainian citizens by telling Putin, ramp up your attacks while we're not giving them aid. This is all what he's doing, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Him.
Yeah. Okay, now I was talking... No, I don't agree with anything you said.
No, not at all.
First off, President Trump isn't doing any of that. That would be a violation of the law. He'll do it when he gets back in office. Now on that I'll agree with you. No, he never has broken the law. Maybe some traffic violations in the New York area and Palm Beach back in the days when he used to drive himself.
That man is driving up. Yeah, I don't even think yet. All right.
No, there's a great video of him online. He's driving, I think it's a Rolls Royce. He's got Barron in the front seat, Melania's in the back seat, and they're jamming to some cool music in the car, driving up in the New York area. I'm sure you can find it online.
I could care less if Tony Soprano is driving a clown car or not. Please get to your point that you were about to say.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate you allowing me to do that. This idea that you have that ending the war is a bad idea, I don't understand. Don't you want this war to end?
No. Oh, I would love the war to end. I would love for Putin to stop doing what he's doing and killing and murdering civilians.
Well, I'm not sure that he's doing that. I was talking earlier in the show, and I want to recommend this again. If you want to know what's really going with you, oh my goodness, he said the F word again. That's twice in 1 week. That's twice in one. If you're on hold standby, I got to wait for the delay to build back up. Oh my goodness, what is it with this guy? He said the F word again. Did you check? Did I hit the delay in time? Oh my goodness. What's the matter with that guy? Class act. If you're on hold standby, just take a moment for the delay to build back up. Oh my goodness, twice in 1 week. Oh boy. No, I'll just repeat what I said. In the first hour, I talk about this a lot. If you want to know what's really going on in Ukraine, there's a YouTube channel you want to go and watch after 9 o'clock. Don't do it now. 8 minutes. Pavlo from Ukraine. Pavlo from Ukraine he's in his 20s. He's a YouTuber, and he makes YouTube videos. And I found him when the war first started, and he uploads videos all the time. You'll find out what's really going on in Ukraine. You know what you don't see? War. This week, he just finished his home renovation on his home out in the middle of nowhere. And this week is his girlfriend's birthday. They drove across Ukraine and went to Kyiv. And I even said it right, Kyiv, not Kiev. I didn't see a plane, a bomb, anything. He's not in uniform. He stopped off at a gas station, showed the prices. A gallon of gas cost less in Ukraine than it does right next door at the radio station here. All right? Less. Not the same, less. He goes into a grocery store in Ukraine. Not only is it fully stocked, they have a gourmet section with wines and everything else. So I'm not so sure there's a full-scale war going on over there in Ukraine, okay? Pablo from Ukraine doesn't seem to be fearful of it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is JJ from Mass. Good morning, bro.
Hey, JJ. My goodness, that's twice that guy Tom dropped F-bombs this week.
Yeah, he was, if he would have had a camera on me here and a mic, I couldn't stop laughing. This guy is so, he's nuts. I'm like nuts for Danya Comrade. They're putting missiles on the moon, a restaurant, and it's insane. Yeah, there's a McDonald's on the moon, but that Putin's putting there with his missile. I mean, my goodness. You see how this works though with the lies? They got this. As soon as the Ukraine funding bill died in the House, immediately they say they got to declassify this information about the Russian threat. They tell us, and before anything is declassified, they tell us they got a missile that could travel 21,000 miles per hour, which is not possible, and now the missile's on the moon. Give me a break. These people, they got nothing. Well, listen, I was going to comment a little bit about the Brookline situation. The one caller called in, but I had read, and I'm not 100% sure about the exact details of this, but I saw where they're offering illegals like up to $30,000 a year to pay for rent and stuff. So took those people in. She's getting paid. I don't know if she's getting paid $2,500 a month or $35, or but they're going to get. They're going to get paid. So I think maybe the way I look at it is Biden destroys the economy. Then they bring all these illegals in. And a lot of people, one of the ways they see to make money is by taking an illegal into the house to help with their bills. I mean, it's insane.
It's like people that take in foster kids.
Exactly. They're taking people in.
Yeah, but what happens if you get your throat cut? What happens to the $30,000 a year?
Then I guess you don't have to worry about paying your mortgage or any other. It's insane. I wouldn't do it. There's no way in hell I would do it.
Some of these people could be dead for 5 years before people know.
Yeah, well, if nobody, especially if they don't have any relatives to come back on them.
That's right.
Those illegals could be sitting in there I think stuff like that's happened before.
You see stories like this, grandma dies and nobody reports it, and the relatives get the Social Security for 5 years and they finally get caught?
Exactly. It's dangerous to do it. It's just so wrong, so unethical. I mean, listen, not all of these people coming across the border are evil, but there breaking the law. And a lot of them could be very, very dangerous, just like Trump says. And there's no way, I mean, if I knew somebody, I mean, my parents back in the day let people stay at our motel up in New Hampshire when there was a blizzard.
That's not your home, though. That's not your home.
In the motel, exactly. It wasn't our home. They let people kind of. She just gave them sheets, and people would go sleep on the floor. I mean, it was like 4 or 5 feet of snow on the roof.
But you know what? Your home has in it not just you and your life. It has your valuables in it, jewelry, your credit cards, your taxes. I mean, everything they need to steal and do identity theft.
Yeah, I wouldn't let anybody in my house like that. I mean, I have my own family and cousins, yes, but...
Really? Come on. I know everyone says that, but I got people in my family. I wouldn't want them to stay with me. Alone? Are you kidding? Alone?
Cousins, I mean, my cousins are like brothers and sisters to me. I have a big family here in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Both Irish and English.
Yeah.
My grandfather was the first man from the General Court back in 1630 something.
Oh my goodness, 1630. Was he part of those witch trials?
He was probably, quite frankly, he could have been there. I'm not sure about that, but he drew the first map. He was part of the General Court. His name's Captain Edward Johnson.
Wow, you're like a blue blood.
Yeah, family's been here. In fact, he was the first war against the Pequots.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you got the blood of the Indians on your hands. Do you have any of that blue blood money like Anderson Cooper does?
Well, we used to have a lot of land in Florida, but
No.
we sold it all.
Oh, okay. No, I got news. I got news for you. You know, there are many people in my family I would not let stay in my house if I wasn't there. No way.
Single family member, Brian, but I mean, there's plenty. The family members that I know that would stay here.
I mean, have you ever had I've had family steal from me.
No, I've never had that happen.
Yeah, I've had it happen. I've had it happen. Really.
Well, I mean, I've had other people steal from me.
Oh yeah.
Not my family.
Yeah, I've had. You know, we had somebody doing some work at the house, and they had they had illegals on their crew, and they stole my wife's jewelry box, and we got new floors in, and they put the jewelry box in the carpet that they tore out. But we didn't know it until like a week later. It was too late.
Yeah, I come from a different time and place. Where I'm from in New Hampshire, you shake somebody's hand, it's a done deal, and that's it, and you don't have to worry about anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I did live in Florida for a while.
Well, you know, Massachusetts and Irish, you're probably mobbed up, so, you know, no one's going to mess with you. You're made man.
No mob in the family.
Uh-huh, okay.
The Italian side of my cousins, maybe. But
Oh, okay, all right. See, I tell you, everyone comes to Florida, even the mob, all right? Take care, all right? I told you we used to have that one mobster that De Niro played in Casino was a listener of the show. I wouldn't be talking this way if he was still listening. All right, listen, we're out of time for today. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back tomorrow. And tomorrow, of course, is Friday. Friday's show is open phones. You can call in about any and everything on your mind on Friday's show. You're not limited to the topics that we bring up. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. Open MAGA Mike Friday. If you're on hold and you hang on, you'll be first in line tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. when we rejoin you. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., guys, and a lot of big news will have happened between now and then, I promise you. All right, take care. Have a great day. See you then.
WSFS 104.3 HD3 Miramar.
All right, guys, I got to run. Make sure you are subscribed. And before you go, if you're already subbed, like the video, guys, okay? All right, I'll see you later. Thanks for watching, everyone.